Hello, everybody. Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dax Shepard, and I'm joined by Manica Pladman.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm so excited to be back.
Me too.
Are you?
Yeah, me too.
Did you feel, I went through a whole, metamorphosis or experience or a journey, a crisis.
Okay.
And I want to know if it's common. It's like I look forward so much to that break. I start romanticizing it, and I start setting expectations, which is dangerous.
Okay.
And basically, I'm looking forward to it as if I'm about to retire. Like, I'm going to be retired for 2 weeks.
I do this too, yeah.
And then the first 5 days is really fun, and then it kind of flattens out, right? And then the last 5 days, I start questioning everything I think to be true.
Yes, I have that.
Did you do this?
Yeah, I normally don't like New Year's because I do a lot of that. I do a lot of existential thinking and also
life evaluations.
Fear, a lot of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tasty, yummy fear. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just all of a sudden was like, I think on day, 13 of this experience going, I'm delusional. I can't ever retire. I'll go bananas.
Oh, right.
I love this. I love sitting here talking to you. I don't know why I would want 14 days without doing that.
Yeah.
But leading up to it, I'm convinced that that's going to be nirvana or heaven on earth.
Yeah, that is weird. I didn't have that. I wasn't like, I can't wait to stay away from Dax for 14 days.
No, not even that way. Just responsibility. Generalized responsibility.
Yeah.
The freedom from it seemed like it was going to be euphoric.
Yeah.
And for a minute it was.
Yeah, it's nice to catch up on sleep.
Yeah.
Catch up on bad food.
Yes, catch up on gaining a few pounds.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to have catch up.
Yeah, get that cholesterol level up there.
Yeah. Unless you're me who worked out every day.
Monica ran at least 2 miles a day.
At least.
For 7 days straight, 6 days straight. You rest like the Lord on the 7th.
6 days straight. I rested like the Lord on the 7th, and then I did it again. I only didn't work out one day this whole break.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I mean, really.
Thank you.
I'm really impressed and happy for you. And did you feel that your mood was generally elevated from the...
Well... So I'll tell you that that's part of the reason why I did it, because I was home with my family and I had some apprehension.
Well, you have a dicey history over Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say that, a checkered past.
There's a little bit of a checkered past. There's been some fighting caused by me sometimes.
And then my favorite part of all these is a quick retreat to your childhood bedroom, where you then eavesdrop through the door to see what they're saying about you, which is
that doesn't happen every time.
But enough of the time.
Only 75%.
But tell everyone the good news.
There weren't any fights.
Not a single one. You got through your whole trip to Georgia without any altercations.
Yeah. My parents did a nice job.
They did a nice job, but I have to say that exercise is in the recipe.
It might be. It might be.
Because you were prone to a little seasonal mood disorder because it got gloomy there a few of the days.
It was pretty gloomy. I was about to start my cycle.
Oh, okay, great. You were premenstrual.
Yeah. So really, everything was stacked against me.
And yet you persevered.
I did.
Persevered.
Persevered.
I persevered.
Anyway,
right
this is just the intro,
Oh, I know. I love it. So let's talk about who is joining us today. He is a sweet, sweet boy. I've known him since he was just a little tiny boy. We worked together on a film called Zathura. His name is Josh Hutcherson.
Ooh, cutie pie.
He's tremendously talented. He's as cute as the day is long, and he's very articulate and well-spoken. And he had us in stitches.
Yeah, he was great. He's also a friend of ours.
The clan.
Yeah, he's a friend of our clan.
Ooh, that sounds dicey.
With a
yeah,
C.
Okay, you're right. Clan with a C.
And
so Josh Hutcherson, and if you enjoy this, which I know you will because Josh is so fun to listen to, his new show, Future Man, Season 2, premieres on Hulu January 11th. So check that out. Enjoy Josh Hutcherson.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
Joshy, my baby boy has come home to roost.
The prodigal son.
He's returned.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so nice to see you.
Man, likewise.
When was the last time? Do we know?
I mean, the last time that I really remember seeing you was, it's been a few years, but it was at a Halloween party where you played a sheriff. It was one of those murder mystery parties, and then you came busting in as like some detective or something.
I totally know. Yeah, and I bailed out pretty quickly of that whole thing.
Yeah, you did well, but you kind of half-assed it at the same time.
Oh, I
but
definitely have. It's so interesting. I think maybe because we act at work, it's like to go to a party and then pretend like you're a character. I did it for
surprised. I was like, is he really? Dax is doing this?
I did it for about 15 minutes. I was like, what the heck? What am I doing? I just want to chat with people normally. And everyone was so into character. I was like,
into it.
But for real, what are you up to?
Yeah.
He's like, well, I just got back from Paris where I solved a case about a pedophile. And
you're like, no, man. I remember you and me talk because at that point, I think it was like I was changing agents. And I talked to you about like I was going to go over to CAA and what that was like. And you were like, great, a lot of resources, but just make sure you stay on top of it because like there's a lot of people there and you want to make sure that you're, in the mix and on top of everything. And it's worked out well.
Okay.
I heeded your advice.
And you ride them like a rented horse?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's been great. So thank you for that.
Oh, sure.
This little nugget of
Well, everyone has different experiences for certain. In my experience, I have gotten almost nothing that I didn't kind of self-generate. I just feel like if you're waiting around, hoping someone's going to call you and be like, we did it. We went to their house in the middle of the night. We woke them up. We showed them your reel, and they loved you.
They loved it.
How do you feel about being in a superhero franchise? It hasn't happened for me.
Yeah. I mean, I found because like you, I've been kind of working in towards being a director, and that's kind of where I've been not focusing most of my energy, but a fair bit of it. I did a couple music videos, got a feature coming up.
You wanted to direct even when you were 12 when I met you.
Yeah. I remember when we were shooting this great film, Zathura, where he actually, spoiler alert, played the older me.
It's the only time.
Which was pretty crazy.
I thought maybe you played his dad because of what you said at the beginning. I'm sorry, but
because he called me his son?
Yeah, yep.
Well, let's just be clear.
The lines are blurred.
At the time, I was 29 and you were 12.
Yes.
So, yeah, I could have had you at 17.
Of course.
You probably did.
You're from Michigan. I'm from Kentucky. That's not...
Yeah, it's normal.
That's not the realm of possibility. But yeah, at that point, I mean, even since I was a kid at 9 years old in Kentucky, I had a little like high 8 cam or whatever, and I would get my friends to come together, and I had this great idea for a film. They would spend about an hour with me working on it, and then they would all want to do something more fun, and I would get angry because they didn't believe in my creative possibilities. And so then,
but you were wandering around set quite often with a video camera.
Yeah, well, John Favreau he said like, hey, go and shoot behind the scenes for me. You'll be my B-roll guy. Yeah. I never turned in any footage, and I never but it gave me this feeling of like somebody like being like, oh wow, an established adult director is giving this 12-year-old like a responsibility. It wasn't real. I don't think.
Nice.
Oh, it was very encouraging.
But it was extremely encouraging. Between that and waxing his like 1934 Ford Coupe, I had my hands full between.
You were his errand boy.
I was his errand boy. Yeah.
Well, I want to launch into Zathura, but before we do that, I want to call you out immediately.
Call it.
So you're here in this attic.
Yes.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
What happened?
But I invited you here, motherfucker.
When did you invite me
6
here?
months ago. I have 2 numbers for you, and if I find out today that your numbers are the same, you and I are going to tangle assholes, amigo.
Let's tangle assholes, amigo.
Because I sent you texts to both numbers saying you should come on Armchair Expert.
Possibility. I got them.
Ghosted me. No response.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
I do not recall it, but I will tell you this much. I do have a very valid excuse.
Tell me.
I've been living in Spain.
Oh, you have?
For like the last year or so, kind of off and on. I've bought an apartment over there, my girlfriend and I, and so I've been living kind of between the two. And the truth is, when I'm there, I have literally not responded to most of my friends because I just sort of disappear into the Spanish culture.
Oh, that's...
And I enjoy it very thoroughly. However, I have some friends that are upset with me, and now I'm learning that You are in this
Add
group of
me to the
friends.
list,
You are-
Hutcherson.
I'm gonna make a note right now.
Yeah, open
adding
up a
Dax
file.
to the-
Fucked
Yeah.
over Dax
Yeah,
too.
fucked over-
Sounds like a good excuse, and it's fine.
I'm totally buying
Thank you.
that excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However-
yep. No, I accept that excuse, and I think it's a great one. This is so. I'm so jealous hearing this. So I didn't even know you had a girlfriend, and then today, because it's weird to read about someone that you've known for 14 years. But I came across a photo of you and your gal. What's her name?
Claudia.
Good criminy, Monica. This gal's an 11.5.
Oh.
She is so beautiful.
Wait till you meet her.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope you bring her to the Christmas party.
She's in Spain right now. She's coming over after New Year's.
Can we get her here by Saturday? I mean,
working, man?
well,
She's a worker.
could she get the flu?
We could.
Do they have they have the Spanish flu, very famous
flu,
flu.
It's the fluth. The fluth. They call it the fluth.
Have you picked up Spanish through dating her?
I have, yeah.
I'm going to
but
test
I
you right
can-
now.
Okay.
Me gusta montar a caballo rápido.
You like to ride a fast horse.
God damn, he
Good
passed
job.
the test.
I passed the test.
That's the only line of
So
Spanish. I
she's
know.
Spanish.
She's Spanish, yeah.
Okay.
She's from Madrid. Yeah, it's been 5 years.
Oh my
wow.
goodness.
Yeah, yeah.
5
Yeah.
years.
She's the best.
2 more years in Kentucky, you guys would be common law.
Hell yeah. And have
Yeah.
at least 7 children.
She'd be a grandma by now.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we love Kentucky.
No,
We're not.
Kentucky's
It's just so easy to make those jokes.
It's easy. I know. I'm from there, and I got on the side of my Harley. I have the Kentucky State outline on the side of the tank. Like, I rep Kentucky.
Kentucky strong.
Yeah.
There was this great thing Kentucky did during like when there was like a big movement in Kentucky to legalize gay marriage, and it was hashtag Kentucky Pride Chicken.
Ooh, I like that.
And it was like the bucket with like rainbow colors, and I was like, way to go, Kentucky.
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
like
Yeah.
Do you know any history of Colonel Sanders? I got obsessed one day. I was like, was he a colonel? Do you know anything about the guy?
I am technically a Kentucky colonel.
You are?
I got honored that honor like
Oh, the
when I was,
same
like,
way-
15. But I think he was like a more legit version of a colonel.
No, he
Are
wasn't.
we on the same playing field?
He was- yes.
And the colonel?
1,000%. The
Wow.
colonel was in no way associated with the military in any
Well, there you
capacity.
go. Well, neither am I.
That secret recipe, the special recipe, originated at a gas station. So he had a gas station chicken stand, and he didn't franchise it. You know, but some other guy saw this Kentucky Fried Chicken, thought this is a gold mine here, cash cow, and he kept the colonel involved in a capacity, mostly ceremonial. He had a good look. His name was the colonel. But what the colonel would do, even though he didn't really have a big chunk of the companies, he spent the latter part of his life driving around his Cadillac all over the country, just popping in on Kentucky Fried Chickens to make sure
way.
they were being run to his standard.
It's like undercover boss. Mm-hmm. It's like undercover
but
boss.
the least undercover guy in the world with the white suit and the
Be like, wait a second. Your face is on my chicken bucket.
Monica, you're gonna have to fact check all that.
I
just
can't
felt,
wait.
Oh, okay. I just felt like I gave you homework.
I'm excited.
But yeah, I got kind of obsessed with like, what kind of fucking? How are you a colonel? I don't know. Anyway,
So someone
anywho.
just gave him that title. It sounds like they're giving it away willy nilly.
Oh, I'm willy-nilly now all of a sudden.
Well,
yeah,
you
that's fair.
said you're not a colonel.
I think it's like
I
getting
am a
knighted.
colonel. I'm just not affiliated with the army. I have a plaque that says Josh Hutcherson, blah, 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 Kentucky Colonel.
Wow. So can you add letters to your name? Can you like do CL? Josh?
I haven't looked into it, but maybe this is something you
I'll
can find
look
out if
into
if there's some letters I can add in.
When you direct, please enter the DGA as Colonel Hutcherson.
Colonel Hutcherson.
That would be so great.
That'd be great. That's a great directing name.
You want to vote like even
Who's
like
directing
let's-
this one? Oh, the Colonel.
Yeah. Yes. And let's
shit.
say you're in the DGA and you get the little form to vote, right? And you haven't seen a lot of those movies.
Right.
But if you by God, if you see the Colonel Hutcherson, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna give it to him.
Guy's a colonel.
Right.
I have no idea what the hell he filmed.
Yeah, but
this guy deserves
he's
an
got the
award.
title. He's got the title. That's funny.
Colonel Hutcherson.
You know, my mom's maiden name is Fight Master.
Oh, back up.
what?
Yeah.
Michelle's
Michelle
maiden name
is Fight Master.
Fight Master.
Like literally the words Fight Master, no space.
Why didn't you take that?
Well, the truth is because they didn't think that I would ever be successful.
Okay.
At 9 years of age, when I was like, I'm going to be in movies. They're
Yeah.
like, all right.
in the
I got
backyard.
Josh Hutcherson, which is like the hard, no show that I go on, almost any, like no late night show or anything pronounces my name right.
Really?
Josh Fight Master?
Yeah.
Come on. I would have got my ass kicked in school, but
Oh, you would have got killed.
I would have got. May not have had like any teeth left.
Yeah, that's a big old invitation to whoop your ass.
But like my grandfather, my mom's dad, he was like a kickboxer in Thailand in like the
Get outta
90s or 80s.
Get outta here.
And he's also like a poet, Mensa. He's like my person in my family I look up to the most as like a creative, and he's had his issues with certain things in life.
Well.
But who hasn't?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was fight master.
Well, that's what we would call a cosmopolitan man. A man who can whomp some ass, then write a beautiful
wax
poem.
poetic about it.
Do some riddles.
Apologize through a poem. Yeah, and then solve some riddles.
Yeah.
That's him.
What happened?
No, he had his issues with drugs and,
yeah.
and alcohol, back in the day and things like that. I mean, he's young. He's like in his mid 60s right now.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Let me just tell you, before you even said that maybe he dabbled in drugs, when you tell me a guy's a poet kickboxer, I'm like, that fucker loves
Obviously.
drugs. Because this is a guy whose sense of romance and self-aggrandizement. Look at, I suffer from it, so I'm not calling the kettle black. This is, well, I guess I am calling the kettle black.
But you're also saying I'm a kettle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a guy who's like, fuck this poetry, man. I'm going to become a kickbox champion in Thailand.
Yeah.
Also, you're in Thailand. I got to imagine you have some access back in the 80s.
I would
some pretty
imagine
sweet stuff.
There was available.
Did he have a big sexual appetite that you're aware of?
Yes.
Okay.
And you want to know how I know this as a fact? I'll give you two examples.
Okay.
One, my 18th birthday.
Okay.
And here we go. And my 18th birthday, I'm back in Kentucky with my family. We got like mixed family all around, aunts, uncles, grandparents, the whole thing. And he says, everybody's giving gifts and stuff. And he says, hey, Josh, I also have an unopened bondage bed that I haven't used. It's at my mom's house. My great grandma, his mother, whom he lived with at the time. And he was like, I got that if you want it. And from my whole family. And I'm like, no. Let's talk later.
If you live at home with mom, you can't have a bondage bed.
I think that should also be in the rules. Then again,
Although,
fuck it.
Let him.
Whatever.
That's also
Whatever.
a great way to look
if
at
you're
it.
35, you live with your mom, you should have a bondage bed.
Yeah.
Just because you're doing some crazy shit to be in that scenario.
That's a great way to look at it. It's
Yeah.
like, you know what? I already shit the bed on this thing, this journey of life. I'm going to go all the way with it.
Why not just dive all the way in?
So you didn't accept the bondage bed?
I did not.
Did you go take a look at it though?
I checked it out. It was actually opened.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a false advertisement. That's why I kind of was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll tell you one more quick story about why I know my grandfather had a voracious sexual appetite.
Yeah.
Was I was at his house. He's battling cancer currently. He's had like
Okay.
a laryngectomy, and so now he's got like the voice box and he can't speak
He's got
anymore.
a stoma?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
okay.
So he's
Well,
going
first
through
of all,
all that.
sorry. And
Yeah,
then
it's tough.
Secondly,
He's fight master. He's kicking ass.
Yeah.
But I went down there and he's actually staying in Long Beach right now, so it's nice.
I want to make
he's
the
out
worst
here.
joke in the world right now.
Well, I mean, go ahead.
Okay. Do you want to come in my bondage bed? I'm just trying to imagine how it sounds. Okay.
There's different voice settings.
Oh, there are.
There's a real suave, like nice.
Oh, like an after 8 p.m.
exactly,
voice?
yeah.
I guess the
Like a
technology
hotline
has
voice.
come very
It really
far.
has. It has.
Okay, sorry.
But regardless,
Sorry, Mr. Fightmaster.
yes, it's okay. He's got a good sense of humor.
Okay.
So I'm down at this house and we're talking, and this is like I realize this is probably the last time potentially I'm going to talk with my grandfather. Mm-hmm. And so we're there at my grandma's house actually, all like kind of together talking and stuff. And he was talking about this woman that he found through Facebook that he used to be friends with, like way back in the day, and she connected him with some kind of person that was able to get him this treatment done for a cost that he could afford because he didn't have the money to take care of his health care and all kinds of things. And so he's like super thankful. And I made a joke in passing, being like, "Oh, is that the couple you used to swing with?"
Okay.
And he goes, "Yeah." Wait, did I tell you that? And I was like, oh my, I'm just throwing darts in the dark here, and I just hit bullseye. Like, literally just nailed it that my grandpa was swinging with another couple.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like,
wow, good for him.
Yeah.
Really good for him. But he and Grandma, there's no way they stayed married with his
he's been
proclivities.
married 7 times.
Oh, my, you guys. Is he a colonel?
He might
He
be.
should
be.
Honestly, he could be anything. I don't know.
He should be a major colonel.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
he's a helpless romantic.
Yeah.
Which I love, and he gives himself over to everything 100% and believes in what he's doing 1,000%, and that's the thing that I saw from a young age. My whole family was always very supportive. There's no one that was like, you'll never succeed, but it was like realistic more than anything. And he was someone that, you know, at a young age, he was teaching me like how to write like with calligraphy and
with a quill,
and like just exploring all these kind of facets of the mind and, you know, that world for a young kid that is naturally dispositioned towards being drawn to that and didn't have an outlet for that necessarily. It was something that really did fuel that creative and explorative mind that I've kind of like developed over my life.
Yeah.
Wait, real quick. Do you know calligraphy?
Not anymore. I can't even really read cursive at this point.
Oh, well.
I'm just
Okay. Really took a backslide. I'm dying to learn calligraphy.
Once I got into the bondage bed thing, calligraphy kind of became, you know.
Took a backslide.
Once he started introducing you to other things.
Exactly.
Like, oh, fuck calligraphy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
It's a
so
Kama Sutra.
now you and I weirdly we basically have the almost exact same span of a career because you started working at maybe 10 years old?
Yeah, I was like 9.
And I had been working for a couple years, and then we met on Zathura.
Yep.
And there's so many things we could talk about on
There's
Zathura.
so many.
First of all, I just loved you immediately.
Yeah.
I really liked you.
We hit it off. There was
Yeah.
I was like, big brother, we
Yeah.
get it. Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, I think because I've always wanted kids, I was like, oh man, if I had a little guy like this who was on fire.
I was your test dummy.
Yeah.
I was like your tester.
Yeah.
Your test run of what it would be like to have a 12-year-old son.
That's right.
Yeah.
But Josh was just so cute, and so was Jonah Bobo, that little kid.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, what a cute.
He's like a real rock and roller now.
He is a talented motherfucker.
Yeah,
I've kept in contact with him as well, and occasionally when I'm in New York, I'll go see he and his
nice.
family. They live like on Roosevelt Island.
Yeah,
little
that's
island.
right. That's right.
So I've hung with him, and you know, interestingly, you guys did that movie, and I totally empathize with this, which is your parents were fine, like this is what he wants to do, and I think his parents were a little nervous about him becoming a movie star. I guess he was 8 years old or
He was
something?
younger. Yeah. I think he was like 7 or 8.
What's so cute is his teeth kept falling out during the movie, so they kept having to make different like
Implants?
retainers with different teeth and
flippers.
stuff.
They call them the flippers.
Yeah, and then he'd have to be learning to talk with this thing.
It was horrible.
He visibly changes in that movie, like if you, because it was the longest movie I've to date been on. Where I think it was like a 5-month shoot, and I joined.
Yeah, it was
halfway.
like 90-something shooting days.
Yeah, and so this little kid, like he transformed, but so anyways, when that happened, I thought, oh, here was my fear of Jonah Bobo not acting. I was like, here's this little environment where this kid is so celebrated for what he's great at, which is like he was a great little improver. He had this huge imagination. And my fear was like, oh, he's going to go to some school and get his ass beat because he's not like a jock. This is what I was thinking. Well, lo and behold, I go visit him on Roosevelt Island. That day, he hit a grand slam in like this fucking city championship baseball game. Then we go inside. He plays guitar. He can play every Led Zeppelin song. And I'm like, oh, he did just fine.
He's fine, yeah.
And then he hadn't even acted in forever. And I think he decided to like give it another spin. And then he immediately got himself in that movie, Crazy Stupid Love. That was like his first audition back.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and he lands in this great movie. I'm like, oh, this kid's he's charmed.
You're like, maybe Dax, I'll get off my high horse and not worry about these people. 'Cause they're going to be just fine.
They're doing just fine.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's so many wonderful things that happened during that movie. One is you and I used to go, I would pick you up at the Oakwood Apartments.
Oh, yeah.
And people on here have heard us talk about the Oakwood Apartments because there's this great documentary, The Complex.
The Hollywood Complex.
The Hollywood Complex. Have you watched that documentary?
Yes.
You have.
Yes.
And what kind of feelings did it give you?
You know, it's weird because Oakwood has such a double like memory in my mind.
Okay.
One of which was some of the greatest years of my life because I was like a young kid from a small town in Kentucky, came out here, and all of a sudden I fit in. Like there was this group of young kids between the ages of 8 to 16 that all were here because they were from Florida, Texas, Michigan, Kentucky, and they were all coming out here because they didn't fit in and they had this other dream.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden I found like a
Tribe.
a tribe, yeah, so to speak. And I wasn't thinking about competition. I wasn't thinking about like, oh, that guy over there, he's like gonna beat me. I was a kid. I was just enjoying the experience. And
Well, you were
living
also
in the
fucking
moment.
crushing. Let's just say that. You had a
Yeah,
very good
that
run.
has the dark side of it, because what happened was, even at Oakwood, like when I started getting callbacks and when I started getting like directors meetings for whatever it was, I felt like a tonal shift in how I was viewed. And all of a sudden you became like Oakwood famous. Or you became like known, and the competition with the parents is the crazy thing. I had a time when I was like maybe 10 years old, and I had just gotten, I think The Polar Express was a movie that I had just done, or some audition or something. And there's a callback that I was going out for, and this group of moms, like 3 moms, came up to me. I was alone in like the clubhouse area. And they came up to me and they're like, hey, we heard you're doing a callback. We're so proud of you. Da, da, da. I'm like, oh, thank you. Da, da, da. And they're like, hey, would you mind showing us how you're going to do the scene? Because we want to like help our son, because he's going for the same callback as you. And we would love to like for you to help us. Right. And I was like, uh-oh.
At 10, did you recognize like, oh, that's...
I recognized that this was weird as shit.
Yeah, okay.
But at the same time, I was like taught to respect people, taught to like help when you can, taught to, if treat people the way you want to be treated. And so I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And okay, I was like, I don't know the lines though. This is me doing my younger voice. I don't know the lines though.
Oh, it's really good.
And thank you. And
Taking me back.
and then they're like, okay, we'll go grab the sides for you. Just wait here. And I was like, okay. They left. I bolted back to the house. I was like,
good
this
for
is an
you.
uh-oh feeling. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
And nothing ever came of it. But there's that duality of the Oakwood that I do remember.
Yeah.
Anyways, I digress. You would pick me up from the Oakwood.
No, this is exactly what I want to talk about, is the Oakwood. Because what was cute is your mom, Michelle, I remember saying like, oh, you guys are living at the Oakwood? And you'd been there for a bit.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You were on year 2 or 3 there, I guess.
I did 7 in total.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Many of which in like a mirror pull-down bed. Like that was like the one we had, yeah.
And I was like, do you like it, Michelle, over at the Oakwood? And your mom was like, no, but he loves it. And almost, I think she felt primarily because there was a buffet there.
Yeah. Oh, I was like a little porker, man. I was a real little stocky son of a bitch. Donuts, I mean, to this day, still are. But every Sunday at the Oakwood, they would give out like, they had like a breakfast buffet. The buffet was just 30 types of donuts.
Oh, wow.
And like concentrate, like apple juice and orange juice.
Yeah, it's like a Holiday Inn Express
Yum.
buffet.
Yes.
It's not like they cooked any of the
No,
food,
no, no,
right?
no, yeah.
It's all
I think Holiday Inn
microwave.
Express actually has like microwaved some of theirs. This was not, no. But I loved it. So that was a big draw for me.
Yes.
That is true.
And you get to run around all the time with all these little kids.
And there's like basketball courts, and I played sports, so like it was like an athletic thing. And going from Kentucky to where as a kid, sports is your life. I played baseball, basketball, soccer, like all of it. And like coming out here, all of a sudden I was homeschooled. I didn't have like that normal like school environment.
Yeah.
So I found my like tribe, or like my kind of camaraderie through the Oakwood.
Were any of the kids you were friends with at the Oakwoods now huge actors? Huge Jackmans? Was Hugh Jackman there?
Hugh Jackman was there.
Okay.
No.
He served the breakfast.
I was there between like 2001 to like 2007-8. Off and on, kind of. I mean, when I was there was like in the day of like Hillary Duff was kind of just passing through, like early Hillary Duff, when that was kind of around.
Ooh, that's
There's
nice.
Frankie Muniz was there back in the day.
now you're
I remember he
getting
used to drive around in the car from Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, he
That
bought.
he got, and I
spent a
was like
lot-
obsessed with it.
Yeah, he
I think
spent
you
a lot of
overpaid.
money on
I think
that.
you
Yeah,
overpaid.
So he was still
I think
living
so.
at the Oakwoods, and he drove a Fast and the Furious car.
Oakwoods is not cheap. Let's make this clear.
Oh, okay.
This place, it's. I mean, from being from Kentucky, it is not just like they
Yeah.
have great amenities. Hi, I'm Josh Hutcherson.
They've renamed
They
it.
renamed it. What is it called? Like the Barham Apartments or something.
It looks way hoity-toity now, because
It's
I used to
pretty
pass it on
hoity-toity.
the way to Warner Brothers all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this? A fucking
I mean,
retirement community now?
it's
Did
like-
they do a 180 and now they're servicing the...
I
others?
highly doubt anything has changed inside of one of those apartments.
Yeah.
But you can still, you can cover a turd in diamonds.
It's still a turd, isn't it?
But I remember back in that time when you would come pick me up,
Mm-hmm.
there was 2 things. We go to Bob's Big Boy.
That's right, for the old car night
The
on
old car
Friday
nights
nights.
on Friday nights, which every now and then I still go to, and
Me
it's
too.
really fun. I'll be like on a random Friday, I'll be riding my motorcycle, and I'll be like, oh my god, I'm gonna swing by Bob's and just roll through. It's so fun.
It's really
And then
fun.
I also remember you would take me, and you had like a Porsche Boxster at the time.
Come on now.
It wasn't a box? I thought you had a Boxster, 'cause I was like-
Oh, it was a 911.
Are you sure?
Am I sure?
It was green. It was green.
Colonel Hutcherson, get the fuck out of here. Hey, listen, oh my God, you think it's green?
It was like a forest green.
It was black with a black convertible top which I would have never gotten a convertible, but I bought this car off Matthew Lillard.
Okay, and it was a 911.
It was a 911. I got a hell of a deal. Unlike Muniz,
Okay.
I got a fucking sweet deal on that car. Yeah.
All right, I remember like that was the first time that I had experienced someone who knew how to drive.
Well, that's
driving a car, and I about shit my pants. And I remember I was just like trying to be cool because Dax was like this cool like older actor. I was like my big brother trying to be cool, and I was like, I'm not gonna tell my mom about this because I'm pretty sure we almost died 7 turns in a row.
This is one of my shame-filled moments that I still think about. I think about it every time I come up on the 170-101 split because there was a moment where we were driving down the 101 and I go, "Do you want to go fast?" And you go, "Yes." Mm-hmm. And then we were flying and then we cut from the 170 trajectory onto the 101 and you go, "Not too fast." And I realized, oh, he's scared. Like I really scared him. And I felt terrible then. And I think about that every time I'm on that split. I'm like, poor Josh. He was probably like wanting to say,
Please stop.
Yes, for a long time before he said it.
Yeah.
I would say it's probably true.
I
would say
feel so
probably
bad.
true. But I will absolve you of your sins because the truth is I love going fast, and maybe it's because of that moment, perhaps.
Okay.
But ever since then, I've been.
Well, you lived through that.
I've always loved cars. I've always been like into cars and racing and everything, and since that time, I've been obsessed with it.
Well, I stupidly, because you were 12, and when I was 12, a couple different times I went for a ride in fast cars, and it's still my favorite memory of being alive. So I was like, oh, he'll love this. I remember, going like 130 with my stepdad in a Corvette, and going like, oh, this is, I want to live at this speed.
I think I remember that I have, for me, more than even that speed and cutting across the 170, 101 interchange.
Number 1 lane to number 6 lane.
Yes, exactly. That was a big one. But I remember being more scared when we were on Mulholland.
Oh, okay.
Because I had never, it's super windy. And Dax is, a decent driver. At the time, at least.
Motherfucker, look behind me. You see all these trophies?
I
You see these goddamn racing trophies?
I just wanted to trigger you.
Yeah, you did. I'm going to start holding them in this interview. IMSA racing trophies.
I know,
They're
but
not
so it was for me as the first time being in a car with someone basically other than my parent or relative.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we're in a
Oh my
Porsche
God.
911 and we're going on Mulholland and just like, I'm like, I don't think you can go this fast into this turn. I don't think that you should be pressing down for more gas right now. And just like shitting my pants. But I love it.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Okay, here's the other really great story that happened. I've told this story on talk shows, by the way. I've probably told this story 100 times since it happened.
Okay.
But you were 12 and your cute little brother Connor was 7, right? Was he 7 turning 8?
Probably, yeah.
You know this story,
I do.
Monica. It's the best story that could have ever happened.
I don't know. I don't know where
So
this is
your
going. I'm
little
excited.
8-year-old brother was obsessed with Ken Jennings.
Yes.
Have you never told this story on a talk show?
I told us on a talk show.
I have.
That's a really good. You told this
It's
story.
the best story.
It's a really great story.
So he was obsessed with Ken Jennings. If you don't remember, Ken Jennings had won like 180 times in a row on Jeopardy.
The legend.
Yeah.
Connor had a poster of him in his bedroom.
I didn't know that part of the story.
My brother had 2 posters in his bedroom. Okay. One was Ken Jennings, and one was Yao Man from Survivor.
Oh, I
Do you remember that show Survivor?
I remember the show, but
So there
never.
was like this old, like wise Asian man that my brother idolized. I don't even know if he won or not, but like my brother just like, I love Yao Man and I love Ken Jennings.
Does Connor now work at NASA or anything? I mean,
Graduated from Georgia Tech with an industrial engineering degree.
oh, great.
And he moved out here.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and so now he's kind of futzing around out here trying to find what he wants to do. But I think he's going to try to get into the music industry as an engineer working within some analytics. Or
What? I
something.
mean,
awesome.
if you wrote a movie and you had an 8-year-old in it and you put those posters on the wall on the set, people would go, come on, dude. No 8-year-old would love Ken Jennings and
Yao
Wow Wow
Man.
Man. What was it?
Yao Man.
Yao Man.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so,
yeah,
he's obsessed with Ken Jennings, and it's his birthday. And we are shooting the movie Zathura 100 feet from the Jeopardy soundstage where they
On Sony.
record the show.
Yep.
So your mother brings Connor out to visit you and celebrate his birthday.
Yep.
And as a big surprise, she got tickets for Jeopardy.
Yeah.
And she takes young Connor there. He's so excited. We see him right before he goes in. We wish him luck. Happy birthday, Connor. Have a blast. They come out an hour and a half later. Connor is in tears. He is inconsolable. I'm like, did someone die on the show?
That would have been better.
It was the fucking episode Ken Jennings lost.
Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday,
I know,
Connor.
man. Jesus Christ. How
That
gnarly
couldn't have
would that
been scripted.
That's terrible. Being an 8-year-old kid, you're idle. You're one of 2 posters in your room, and you literally go to see the show. He's won 180 something in a
he
row.
can't lose.
No, there's no way he's losing. On your birthday, the guilt that you must feel as a young 8-year-old lad.
You jinxed
where you're
Ken.
just like, it is my fault. I think maybe to this day that might be like a source of many of his issues. He should talk to his therapist about that.
I wonder, does he in general have bad luck?
No.
He doesn't.
No.
Okay,
he doesn't.
that was an isolated.
He really doesn't. I think that amount of bad luck that he felt at that moment, like, did his time with the bad luck department for many years.
Okay. I mean, just listen to what we're talking about. It's such a surreal life to be a young kid who ends up being a star of Zathura. And then you add on to it that you got a little brother, and then he gets to go see Jeopardy. The whole thing is so. Whose 8-year-old birthday was that? It's just so bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love it. I love that originality, the uniqueness, those kind of life experiences. That just is like, that's gold for me.
Yeah, I hope he thinks about it often. I wonder. Yeah, I'd like to get him and Ken together at some point. It could be really healing. You know, like in Scientology, they have this thing called engrams, and they think when you've had trauma, you kind of attach all these other things that happened during the trauma, and then those things could trigger you throughout life, and then you go back and you confront the trauma, and then you disconnect all these things. Okay, I'm not a proponent of Scientology, but that's one concept I think is kind of intriguing.
It's like a basic
wonder
psychological approach to like therapy.
I wouldn't be surprised if Connor's triggered by bright lights, applause, older men in suits. Like he might have attached all these things, and I think we need to get he and Ken together and just work through this.
I will. I will facilitate that.
Okay, great. I'll see if I can find
Let's get Yao Man to mediate.
Now, the other thing that was interesting, solely homeschooled. Do you know anything?
Not really.
I mean, are you missing some big chunks? Because that's a lot to task Michelle with, to be a teacher of all subjects.
Yeah.
In every grade. I think of myself as a pretty educated guy. I don't think I could take a kid through K through 12.
No, not at all. No, I definitely could not pass. Okay, if I went to the Billy Madison school, the company would go right away. Yeah, I started when I was, I guess, like 4th grade is kind of when I stopped. I went to public school until 4th grade in Kentucky, and then that's when I started acting, and then I was homeschooled and various forms of homeschooling / like away study and all these things.
Set teacher.
I had a studio teacher. There's the same guy for like 7 years.
Oh yeah, he was on Zathura. Yeah,
his name was Pat Jackson.
Oh yeah, Pat, nice guy.
He's a super nice guy, and he was absolutely formidable in my like development as a youth. And how I see the world, how I problem solve, how I think about so many things that I use on a daily basis.
Oh wow!
However, certain subjects that
took a backseat,
real backseat, such as many of the major ones. Like for example,
math. What do you think your math level was at
right now?
No, like when you were like 18, like when someone's math level should be 12th grade.
Oh, for sure, like probably 7th.
Okay,
7th, maybe 8th grade. Mm-hmm. I mean, I liked math. I enjoyed algebra. I liked problem solving. But then I just got too bogged down. I was a thinker. I was a thinker and a dreamer, and living inside of textbooks or of learning about things that I knew what I was going to be doing in my life. I was going to be working in this business. I was going to be directing, acting, creating films. Like that's what I knew I was going to do.
Right.
And there were certain things that I had deemed unnecessary to learn. Exactly. Certain elements like that. But I mean, the truth is, like, after I would say, I mean, I didn't I don't have a GED. I didn't graduate high school.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I did like the California high school proficiency exam at the age of 16, which is basically testing out of high school.
Okay.
That way you can work as an adult. The test was so easy.
Oh, it was.
Like a 6th grader could have passed the high school proficiency exam of California.
So if you're a young actor out there, that's the route
this
to
advice.
take. Yeah.
Do not finish school. No matter. No. I don't. The thing is, like, I was good at school if I wanted to be. Like, I was like the kid.
You're a smart kid.
I could figure shit out. I knew how to beat tests. I knew like what that whole thing was. I just couldn't give a rat's ass to be there. I had so many other things I'd rather be doing with my time, creating, imagining, playing, sports, anything else except for being locked in a room with someone trying to tell me things that I think are very unimportant. And just like the structure of it just never really clicked with who I was.
Yeah.
And maybe it sounds like bullshit because every kid's like, yeah, duh. School didn't connect
Me
with
too,
who
dude. You don't have to be an actor to feel that way.
Exactly, yeah. But nevertheless, I felt that way and I didn't really do school.
Were you aware of the fact when you were that age that you had a ton of money? Like, were you cognizant of that?
I mean, yes and no. It was like, my family always wanted to provide a great life for myself and my brother and our family as a whole.
Yeah.
So
and your dad worked at the EPA.
My dad works he still does. Works
Still
at the
does,
Environmental
okay.
Protection Agency. My mom worked for Delta
Is
Airlines.
there even one left for him to work
Barely.
at? Okay. He's
Barely.
just
They
in a
pretty much
parking
just
lot?
sit around and guard like recycle bins now.
Pour acetane into the river.
That's pretty much, yeah. My mom worked for Delta. So like, but they always, like my mom's mentality was always very much like, we may not have the money to do this, but we're going to do this anyways.
Okay, good, yeah.
Such as like, taking family vacations every year, like having a nice house for us to live in.
Yeah, you guys I saw a picture of your house. It was nice.
Yeah, it was great. And it's a very middle class, upper middle class Kentucky suburban living.
Yeah.
But that also causes debt and credit card debt. And so as a kid, like when I started working and making money, my first objective and goal was I was aware of it for whatever reasons that my parents had this debt. And I was like, I just want everybody to be even and good.
Yeah.
So let's like pay all that off. Let's like, so in my mind, I was only where I was because of my family supporting me. As a 9-year-old kid, I recognized that.
Well,
they
it's true.
didn't
Your
have to
mother
do this.
dedicated Michelle, who, again, if
Absolutely.
I haven't put too fine a point on it, I love your mom.
Yeah,
she
she's
is the
fantastic.
cutest, sweetest lady.
Yeah, she's actually the she runs my production company with me now. So we
that's
are very
great.
much like and she's
Can
fantastic.
she get a hold of you when you're in Spain?
Barely.
Okay. Okay, that makes
Honestly,
me feel
barely.
better.
It's been an issue. I'm trying to get better on it. But no, so I think that when I first my first paycheck that I got when I was a kid, I bought a dirt bike. Like I'd always wanted a dirt bike. Never was like that was like an unrealistic thing for me to just get given by my family.
Sure.
So I was like, screw it, I'm getting a fucking dirt bike.
And did they object to that? Were they like,
No.
"Oh, if we let him do this, he's going to be a spoiled little shit"?
Not really. It was. I
Because I would have
imagine.
been like, "No, hey, y'all, this is my money. I'm going to buy a dirt bike."
I know. That's the. I think like I try to put myself in their shoes as a parent, and all of a sudden you have this 10-year-old kid that's making like significant money.
Yeah.
And not to mention also like the trust fund that automatically goes into. When
Yeah,
you're
what's the
under
name of that
18.
law? The something.
Oh, about the boy?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
There's that rule that they have to put 20%.
It's like
of what you're
20%
making.
of what you're
And it goes into an
making.
account.
Yeah.
And
It
the
It goes
account
to your
has
account,
a name.
and the account. I just always called it a trust fund. I didn't know if there was an. There's probably a.
No, it's
I'll
called
look
like
into
the
it.
the Colonel's
Jay
account.
Spiegel account.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's named after a boy.
Who got
Something.
fucking robbed blind by
Because his parents, yeah. Thankfully, I've never been concerned about that, but the trust fund was there anyways. But yeah, so I just imagine being a parent, and all of a sudden, like at some point, your child is making more money than you are as a household,
To me,
and that just seems like such a mind fuck, and like just the
Yes.
dynamic of parenting, what that means, and
yes.
the
Power
power
grounding the
dynamics.
breadwinner.
Exactly.
Yeah. Go to your room. Fuck you.
Fuck
It's
you, I
I
pay this
own this
mortgage.
room. What are you talking about? You go to your room. I own this house.
Yeah, but what's interesting is like
My room. What? They're all my room.
You go to my other room, which is your bedroom. Yeah. No, but what's interesting about that is even before that dynamic existed, my parents had approached parenting with my brother and myself in a very mutual respect kind of way.
Yeah, they kind of treated you like a little adult.
They did,
but which you deserved, by the way, knowing you as a little kid.
yeah, but I mean that could have been cultivated by them, to be honest. But I do feel like that then paved the way for once that power dynamic was weird, it wasn't. Because it was
Right.
like we all saw we saw each other as equals, and we talked to each other. There wasn't like if my parents said you can't do this, and I'd say why, the words because I said so, because I'm your mom,
Yeah.
that didn't really exist.
Oh, that's great.
Because
Yeah, I
if
don't
she
agree
said
with
that, I would be like, okay, thanks for the lesson.
Yeah.
Like you didn't teach it. Why can't I do that? Explain to me why, and then I will actually learn. And so because of that, they made us think for ourselves. They made us like make judgment calls. Have a moral compass and treat people the way you want to be treated. Was another golden rule that I was raised with.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, because
yeah.
it gets tricky and I would think this often with you and Jonah on set. it does. You can't help but recognize, oh, all these people kind of work to support the thing I'm doing. It's just the actual inescapable dynamic of a set where all this stuff is happening. People are painting sets and they're putting cameras in position, all ultimately for you to say some words in front of that camera. Completely. And so they're going to try to make it as easy for you to do that as possible. And you can get aware of the fact like, oh, I'm above these people. That's dicey for a kid, I think.
Yeah, I guess I never really looked at it
Felt that way.
No, I
didn't act that way.
I didn't feel that way. And to this day, I still don't. But still, like at a young age, I was enamored with the entire process of filmmaking.
Yeah.
From the grips to the special
Well, you
effects.
loved, what was the prop master who we love?
Bobbit.
Bobbit.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You guys
I
had a whole thing. You made like a
always-
potato launcher.
We made and the special effects guys, yeah. And the camera, I would go in the camera truck at Rap and just be like,
Do coke.
okay, so do you take the...
Just bang a couple lines back.
Bang out a couple of lines and check out some anamorphic lenses.
Yeah, I'm just like you.
Other word, anamorphic and Colombian bang bang meant the same.
Colombian bang bang.
I was obsessed with the entire process of filmmaking. So because of that, there was never like my job is more, and it just never, and that wasn't my upbringing. Like,
Yeah.
treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like, I want to treat everybody with respect and dignity. And
I'm trying to remember. There was this because you still had your cute Kentucky accent.
well,
And in fact, Kristen and I were buying a bed about 6 years ago. We went to this like mattress warehouse.
Okay.
And the guy said about 6 words. And I go, let me guess, you're from Northern Kentucky. And he goes, God damn, how'd you get that? Because he sounded just like you. And I'm trying to
so
remember
funny.
the word you had to say.
it was phone home.
Was that what it was? Yeah,
Yeah,
you said like
you can't-
phone.
Phone home.
Yeah, you
It
couldn't
was like
say-
this weird, almost like Canadian, Midwestern. It was it wasn't straight up like full on Kentucky Southern accent.
Right.
But it was like some weird like home.
But we had to do about
Home.
14 takes.
I
to
couldn't
get-
say home.
So you were 12. What was Kristen Stewart? 15? She was 15 or 14? Were you
like 15.
were you in love with her?
100%.
Oh, you had to
Yeah,
be,
of
right?
course. She was the coolest person that I'd ever met. Yeah, she was just so cool. And she had remember her dog Jack?
No.
Like he's like part wolf like this. And her mom was super cool. She played the guitar in her trailer. I was like, oh my God. I feel like I was like, I'm a man. You can date me. Of course. I'm 12 years old.
Yeah.
You see this pudge? You want some of
That's
this
for
pudge?
you.
This is for you, honey.
That cushion's for the pushing, girl. Yeah, so
funny.
you must have just, because if I was 12 and I was working with her, the 14 or 15-year-old, I would have just been gaga over her.
I feel like I played it pretty cool.
I think so.
I don't remember being too like anxious, but I definitely was like, she's beautiful, she's cool as shit, she's talented. It was like a big time crush at the time.
Yeah.
But I remember on my 12th birthday, I was having the Pins Bowling Alley.
Yes, I went.
Yeah, you were there. Kristen came 'cause it was during shooting, I believe. We did the cake and all that stuff. Kristen kind of walks up to me and she has her hands behind her back. I'm like, am I gonna get kissed? Am I gonna get kissed? Like, I don't even like. I'm sure I was like just freaking out. She's like, so it's your birthday. I want to like give you a present. I was like, oh yeah, okay. What's up? What kind of present you got? And she brings her hands out and she's got a turtle, like a living little turtle, a Chilean something turtle.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I got you a responsibility for your
Thanks.
happy birthday.
she's like, yeah, they live to be 85.
Oh my
wow.
goodness.
He's less than 1. Like, what?
Yeah.
What?
I got you some homework for your birthday.
For the next 85 years.
Where is that
That's
turtle?
kind
now?
It's been dead for a while.
It has.
Yeah, we went out of town in Kentucky, and our neighbor was supposed to take care of the turtle. It was winter time; they didn't put the heating pad underneath.
Okay.
Turtle froze to death.
Oh boy.
Well, you know that is. They say that's a very peaceful way to go.
Or so I hear.
No, really, the people on
Really?
Everest who
Really?
die, yeah, like with,
I'm sure leading up to it, it's
some people have been revived as they were like falling out up at Everest.
Oh, wow.
And they say in that ice cold with the asphyxia, it's very nice and gentle. But you surrender to it easily.
oh wow.
So I like to think that
Great.
this little guy,
Maybe he passed. His name was Bob.
staring up at Ken Jennings.
I've got bad habits. Bad like a record with some pets.
You
small
do?
pets.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a hamster named Coolio that died, hung himself.
committed
Yeah,
suicide.
committed suicide. There's a note, and it was rough. I came home from school. I was in like kindergarten. It has a little hamster. It's like the wire cage.
Oh, boy.
And I came. He was an asshole. That little hamster was an asshole.
well, he
You
was
couldn't
dealing
touch
with
him.
depression.
Apparently, at the time, I wasn't so sensitive. You know, this was
Right.
back in like 2002. We weren't so woke, guys. All right, we were. We were
Hurt people
less
hurt
woke.
people, Josh.
Exactly. I always say that shit. I always say that. But anyways, I came in and I looked over my hamster cage, his hamster cage, and he was just like stuck there on the side. And he wasn't moving. I was like, Coolio? And I went over and I
love
like,
when you do
Your little boy voice is great.
I went over and I pushed him, and he kind of just like rocks back and forth.
Ooh,
was
like rigor mortis had set in.
Yeah, it was rough. Anyways, I digress.
Now you went from Zathura,
Mm-hmm.
and you did Bridge to Terabithia,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a big hit,
Yeah,
right? And
it
you
was.
shot that in New Zealand.
We did,
Did you fall in love with that co-star?
sort of.
Yeah, I just imagine
as
when
a
I
young
imagine your
child
life
on a set, like
Oh.
how are you not going to?
Who was it?
and
Anna
you're
Sophia Robb. Yeah.
and you're not in class, you're not in a school, so it's like basically you're on a deserted island at all times,
And we were in New Zealand on an island.
on an actual
Yeah,
island,
on an
North
actual
Island or
island.
South?
North.
Okay, right.
Yeah. It
Great.
was actually, that movie took place in Virginia, and they doubled New Zealand for Virginia.
Well, I did
wow.
the same thing
Which-
for Oregon.
I was like, what? You shot in New Zealand for Oregon?
Yeah, and Without a Paddle, that was set in Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was a little more wildernessy, though, I feel like. It was like the mountains, the rivers. This one just took place in a small forest, and we actually found a forest in New Zealand that had planted trees from Virginia.
Oh, good for them. They've
So I
probably
was like-
taken over the whole island.
And that
by
was
now.
Walden Media.
Oh.
And so they really aren't around anymore. And maybe it's because they were shooting movies that were supposed to be Virginia and New Zealand. I don't know.
But so that girl, were you guys the same age?
We were the same age, yeah.
And did you become boyfriend girlfriend?
It was like one of those like innocent, like boyfriend, girlfriend, like we kissed and I was like, I'm in love with you for the rest of my life.
Of course.
Yeah.
Was it your first kiss?
No, my first kiss was on set though.
It
was
was?
this movie I did
Oh,
called
Little Manhattan.
Yeah. I did that
Yes.
when I was like 10 or 11 years old. So actually, I guess it was probably right before Zathura time.
It was, yeah.
I remember, I was so nervous. Oh, God. And since I was a kid, I was a helpless romantic. Like, as a child, I was, like, falling in love in kindergarten.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, a kiss was so important to me. And my first kiss was going to happen on set in front of, like, a crew of, like, 40.
About 50-year-old dudes
Of, like,
drinking coffee and
yeah,
hacking out their cigarette. They just
Exactly. And so it was less than romantic.
go get her, kid.
All right, lay it on her, buddy. Yeah, and I remember my dad flew in to like support me for that time because like it was like a dad and his son like
Oh
like,
yeah,
first kiss kind of
passing of a rite of passage.
It's a rite of passage.
And,
It's like my bar mitzvah basically.
This is another part I think would be really hard as a child actor. Is because I get it as an adult. You go away to a movie on location, you become best friends with everybody. It's this camp, and then you go home and you're like, well, wait, where is everybody? And that's
Yeah.
kind of the end. And I would imagine that'd be even harder as a kid.
Yeah, it was. You know, it was kind of this thing where, like, at that point, my dad and my brother were still living in Kentucky, and my mom and I were out here, and we tried to go like no more than 2 weeks without having the family together.
Right.
So it was either every 2 weeks my dad would take off a long weekend, and my brother and my dad would fly to wherever I was working, and we'd be together, or we'd try to find a way to keep the family unit somewhat intact. But the truth is, from a young age, I was really like behaviorally modified to know how to adapt to constantly being moved around,
right.
So I didn't really have like a strong base of friends in Kentucky.
Okay.
I only went to school until 4th grade. So it's not like I had like these lifelong like childhood friends that I was
Right.
I had my friends there, but that wasn't like my everything.
Yeah.
So I kind of I've always been the guy like my home is wherever I rest my head. And so at a young age I can imagine that it would be more difficult, but for me I kind of enjoyed it. I enjoyed like a nomadic lifestyle.
Oh, good.
And kind of, picking up and moving around and
then you were in The Kids Are All Right, which was one of my favorite movies. And did you think Ruffalo was just the coolest dude?
I love Mark Ruffalo so much.
I mean, what a guy this
He's
guy
such
is,
a
right?
guy. He's so great. Every now and then, I've run into him a couple times over like the last decade. That movie was a decade ago, by the way.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's when we made it. It was like literally, I was 16 when we made that. I'm 26 now, a little while ago. But Ruffalo is just such a good dude. And like I over the years, I've texted him and we kind of started to try to do some like political things together here and there. And he's always super active and involved. And so we've kind of touched base over the years. But he's just the greatest.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
Okay, so after The Kids Are All Right, now your life completely changes, I'm assuming. In 2011, you get Hunger Games. You become PETA. And What are you at that time? 16? No, you were born in 92.
That was like 17, 18, right? I'm not good
19.
at math. Like I
19.
said. 19.
19 years old.
There's that
You're
homeschool
19
math
years old.
for y'all.
He loves doing fast math, so you can throw any math at him. If you
Yeah,
want.
it's kind of one of my
It's just
hobbies.
things.
Were you must have recognized this is a gigantic opportunity.
Yes and no. Honestly, like yes and no. We sort of had seen. I had seen, you know, what like a Twilight book series does. You'd seen what a Harry Potter book series does.
Yeah.
But when it comes to you actually doing it, you don't put it in the same category as that. In my mind, they're like, this has X amount of readers compared to this. And I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
I thought Jennifer Lawrence was the shit. And I was like, working with her is going to be fantastic. And they started building this insane cast. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? This is nuts.
Yeah, I think it would have drudged up a little insecurity for me. Like, oh, this is a big thing. Also, you're up against like this thing with 50 Shades of Grey, where people like they couldn't have cast anybody where they wouldn't have been like, that's not my Christian.
Sure, yeah.
So like stepping into a role that people have imagined,
beloved
millions of
character,
people have
sure.
imagined.
Yeah.
You're inevitably going to get like blowback, right?
There's no version where you read reviews and it's like all good.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think like for me, I really wasn't nervous until I stepped on set and they said like rolling.
Oh, okay.
Like I genuinely because I had been like training for a few months leading up to that because like supposed to be like this like kind of a stocky build guy, so,
Yeah.
you know, all that stuff. And I was just like looking forward to it because at that point I'd done
Did it cross your mind to
20
do
movies.
steroids?
No.
Damn it.
No,
Okay.
man. No, I
Good
never
job.
did.
Good
Thank
for you.
Thank
You know, all I want to do is get cast in a superhero movie,
So you
having
can do
nothing to
steroids.
do with the movie or the paycheck, just so I have an excuse to do roids.
Yeah.
Get like maybe get up to
Yeah.
235 of muscle
That'd
and
be
like
solid.
have some temper tantrums and slam my door and stuff. It sounds like a fun
I'm
experience.
preparing for a role. Fuck you. You don't know what it's like.
Keep the kids away from me.
Oh, man.
So that didn't cross your mind.
That didn't cross our mind, no.
And what's the age gap between you and Jennifer Lawrence?
I think she's like 2-ish years older than me.
So as you went to
3
that
years.
movie, where did you guys shoot those?
We shot those. The first one we shot in North Carolina.
Okay.
And the second one, and so on and so forth, we shot between Atlanta, Paris, Berlin, and Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now, the first one, did you go into it going like, I'm going to get this girl to fall in love with me? Because that's all I would have been thinking of if I
I
was
totally
you.
understand that.
Yeah.
And genuinely, that was not the dynamic at all. It
Because
was,
she established that really quickly, or
you know, it was, I don't exactly know how it was. I just know that literally, I met her one time. I met her at the SAG Awards, and that was when she was like doing the circuit for Winter's Bone, and I was doing the circuit for Kids Are All Right.
okay,
And I'd met her, and she was a girl from Kentucky. I'm from Kentucky.
right? This
And
to me
she-
seems like star-crossed lovers.
And she came to me and she was like, "Hey, I'm Jennifer. Nice to meet you. I just want to tell you, when I was a kid and I want to start acting, like you had done it and you were in like the newspaper in Kentucky, and my parents told me I couldn't be an actor. So I showed them this newspaper of you succeeding. I told them that I could do it too if you did it. So I
She
just wanna
owes
say-
everything to you.
I was like, thank you.
yes.
But yeah, so I don't know. There was just always a very comfortable. It was a very brother-sister dynamic from the beginning. And
But
like
you're both
there
from
was
Kentucky.
I know.
Had to do it.
Yeah.
Brother, sister, that shouldn't stop you.
It shouldn't, man. Come on, we got family totem poles, not trees. Anyways,
So
but
you,
no, it was really like a super, very friendly, comfortable, like brother sister dynamic from the get go.
Okay.
and it really it never got confusing or blurred or weird or anything like that. And I know that you probably would have wished for
Be
it to
sad
be
about that.
more juicy than that, but genuinely, I don't know. For me, that was so much better than having had some kind of romantic thing.
No,
and I'll
Josh.
tell you
No,
why.
no, no, no,
I'll tell
no,
you
no,
why.
no.
Yes,
If you had
she's
all
allowed-
these memories,
I'll tell you why.
Okay, tell me.
Because now she's a friend of mine, and there is nothing that has tainted that friendship.
Well, I'm
And
friends
so-
with all my ex-girlfriends. You could have still been
Well, you're-
friends with
you're
her.
crazy.
And done the Devil's Three-Way or whatever the hell that drinking
Devil's
game was
Triangle.
called. Yeah, the Devil's
Yeah.
Triangle. You guys could have partaken in the Devil's Triangle.
Yeah.
And still
No.
be great friends.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
I don't have a fucking time machine. Do you have a fucking time machine? 'Cause if you did, then maybe
Yeah,
we
that
would.
Polaris one-seater outside.
that
is a little
that'll
bit of a
spin
time
you
machine.
back.
But you guys were love interests. You don't get any googly feelings while you're doing that?
Of course, you get googly feelings.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
You're human.
100%. I'm a human being.
You dated one of these starlets, and I'm going to embarrass you because I want to say, because I ran into you somewhere. I want to say you and I were at some kind of award show or something. You guys were sitting together. But were you with, like, did you date like Vanessa Hudgens?
I did.
God bless
did.
you.
I
Good
did.
for you.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Because you're very serious about this girl now, 5 years.
Yes.
And I think it's just nicer when you guys get married and you have kids that at least you had a couple of Vanessa Hutchersons. Am I saying it? Hutchersons. Were you with Vanessa or Hutchersons?
Yeah, no, we dated because we did a movie together, and
This is kind of your move, right? This is you date the girls you.
yes and no. It's how I meet people.
Of course.
Like I say, I don't go out places. I'm not like I don't go out and party. I just like to stay in my house in my little tribe.
Yeah.
So the way I meet people is through shootings, and it just so happens that many actresses are very interesting, dynamic, slightly crazy people that I connect
Yes.
with in a very strong way.
Of course.
And so yeah, Vanessa and I did date as like after we did the Dwayne Johnson movie together.
What one was
the
that?
Journey to the Mysterious Island,
Okay, great.
the sequel to During the Center of the Earth.
Did you have the feeling I had? Because for me, I was in Without a Paddle, which I didn't think was like the movie I thought we were making. You know, I've now come to really love it. But at the time, I was like, oh, that's not the movie I thought we were making.
Yeah.
And it did really well. And then I went to the test screening of Zathura. I'm like, this movie's 100%. It's going to make $2 billion.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
very misled by my first experience.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you think Zathura was going to be a huge hit?
Again, and I don't know if it's just like my personal perspective or a certain naivete with it, but I didn't think about it.
Good for you.
And it's funny because I was even talking with this about someone like a couple days ago, and they were like, "You don't seem to really be that stressed out ever. You don't really seem to be like, oh, I hope this movie does well. I hope that they like me in this performance." And the truth is, I really don't. I don't think about it that much. I think it's probably because I've been fortunate enough to be lucky and be successful from a young age.
Yeah.
So not knowing that kind of success has never been a determinant or driving force in me. It's been, I want to make cool shit. I want to make cool movies that I like, that I think are interesting and original. And I haven't really thought about that. But with Zathura, I guess I would say that I don't even know how well it did. I don't even know if it made money, if it was a flop.
No, it didn't do so hot.
It didn't?
It didn't do so hot.
Well, shit.
Yeah, I think I want to say, in that Chicken Little movie, just crushed us. It really took us to the
man.
point.
Didn't stop
Little.
either of you. You're both fine.
Well,
There we
but
go.
for you,
Thank
You're
you.
both doing
There
good.
it is.
it does make sense though for you because 15 of your 26 years on planet Earth, you've been employed as an actor. So all the signs are pointing that you're an actor and you're always gonna be. For me, 15 of the 43 years I've been employed. Now it's getting to the point where I worry way less. But there were many years where I was just like, oh, I'm going to get disinvited to this party. I can feel it. One more stinker, and our old
Yeah.
Shep dog is back to CPK, seating people who are mad we don't take reservations. That's just around the corner. Here we go. So you never really stress about it. But
Not really.
I did talk to you once after Hunger Games. I saw you somewhere. And I was like, well, what's the experience like? And you were like, it's a little overwhelming for me. I don't know
Yeah.
that I really thought this through.
I didn't think about it for a second. I mean, when people sometimes like to say to you, if you're a successful actor and, you get recognized and people want pictures or paparazzi or whatever it is, they're like, yeah, but like you signed up for that. It was like part of the whole thing.
Right.
I'm like, bitch, I fucking started acting when I was 9 years old. When I wasn't thinking about paparazzi and like my privacy and people following me. I was like a kid that wanted to make movies.
Yes.
And that's what drove me, and that's what like empowered me to try to do whatever it is I want to do.
Right.
And so that never crossed my mind. And then all of a sudden, you do a movie like Hunger Games, and even when I signed on to it, I wasn't even thinking like my life is going to change. I genuinely did not
You were
think that.
naive.
I was not. Yes, I was naive completely. And
can you
boy,
ex-
did it change.
And can you
Yeah.
explain? Yeah, because I bet I've only known the level of fame that you had prior to those movies. Like I probably that's the level of fame that I've experienced. So yeah, walk me through like after. Is it like a light switch? Is it after opening weekend? Is it 6 months later? Is it after that thing's done $300 million? Like when do you start going like,
kinda a
ooh,
light
this
switch.
is
It was like a light switch. I mean, I tell you when I got the first taste of it was after we had been cast, before we'd even shot a second of the film. they did this like fan event at like the Westfield Shopping Center over in Century City.
Okay.
And they had me, Liam, and Jen there. And we were babies. I was 18 at the time. This is because we started shooting, I was like 19. I was 18 years old. Jen was 20. Liam was like right around
40.
there. Yeah, Liam was 45. And I just remember this moment. We were sitting up and they had this like in this like little waiting room kind of up above like where all the people were. And there was glass where you could see out, but they couldn't see in. And there were so many people there with signs of like pita and Katniss or like bake, like put a bun in my oven.
Oh, wow.
Like, things like that.
Put a bun in my oven.
And I remember just looking out at that and looking at Jen and Liam, we genuinely had a great connection between the three of us, like really a strong friendship, loved them to death. We all kind of looked at each other and were like, ooh, what the hell are we stepping into?
Oh, wow.
And that was before we even started shooting.
Wow.
And so from then on, it would just it was a massive life-changing experience.
And did it give me one of the worst stories from that you can think of?
Just like invasion of my...
Well, I've talked about this on here, and again, I want to preface it by going, there's nothing could be less sympathetic than an actor complaining about being famous.
Of course.
So I recognize that, and yes, I did ask for this, and yes, I very much wanted it. So let's just start there. But my issue with it isn't that I don't love the people or anything like that. It's just I wasn't prepared for, I've lost control. Like I was, I told this the other day, when it hit me was I was sitting in a Fuddruckers and I was by myself in Austin filming a movie, and I noticed that like maybe 5 of the 9 tables, the whole families were just staring at me by myself. And I just thought, I've lost control of the world I live in.
Absolutely.
And now this is permanent and I'll always be stared at a restaurant.
Yes.
And I just really didn't think that through.
Not at all. That's a great example of it, because that is the truth. Is that, again, it feels, I hate talking about it to anyone.
Yeah,
because I feel so ridiculous because I get to live an amazing life, do what I love, take care of all my friends and family, and make movies. Like that's the greatest job on earth.
Again, I wouldn't trade it.
No,
if you tell me, I'll take that away, and you go. So I still want it.
For me, there's a disconnection from society that I feel, and that is a disappointment. Because part of why I think I love to make movies and play characters and tell stories is because I like the connective nature of creating a film. You watch a movie or a TV show, and whoever's watching that, there's a connection there, and you're understanding, you're having empathy for the people you're seeing in the story and all these things. But when you become famous, you sort of are no longer allowed to be a part of that public. Mm-hmm. You are sort of in a separate little isolated world. And most times I don't want to go places. Because the truth is, like when I go with I've never in my life gone to a bar without being aware of who's looking at me.
Right.
Like that's crazy to me.
Well,
But then again, since I was 9 years old, I've traveled the world and shot movies and taken care of my family and friends and have a career.
Oh, it's totally worth it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've never gone to a bar and like gotten drunk with my friends without being constantly cognizant of what is happening around me.
Sure, who's
And
filming you?
Who's filming you? Who's taking pictures? Who like just recognized you and is turning and is like looking you up online, and then like you see their phone that has like your
Because 3 of their
Google
friends have
image
no idea who you're. Yeah,
exactly.
I see that
Like,
so often.
They're like, it's fucking Peter from Hunger Games. Like, no, it's not. That's not him. He doesn't have blonde hair. And you're like, no, I swear it's him. Look, and you become very aware of that, and you're trying to talk to your friend, but out of the corner of your eye, you see that whole thing happening, and your anxiety is just building, waiting for them to come over. And a lot of times they're cool. Sometimes they're dicks. And you're like, stop, please. I just want to stay here a little bit longer with my friends.
Yeah, let's just say that too. The talking is great.
Yes.
It's the 12 minutes of anticipation where they're summoning up the courage to come talk to you, and you just become aware of it, and you can no longer be present in the conversation you're having because you're like, is it happening now? Is it happening in 5 minutes? Is that, they're going to pay the check and then they're going to come. Like, I've almost just want to go like, let me go over to you.
I started doing that actually. Like when I used to be in the place where like if I saw somebody recognizing me, I'd be like, oh, fuck. I kind of like turn my head and hide.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, oh, hey, how are you? Hey, I'm Josh.
That's a much better way.
I just introduced myself and like, oh, hi. And they're kind of like taken aback and they're like, can we get a picture? I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Okay, great. Have a good night. Boom. And then you're back to your world.
Yeah.
But it is weird. But I do, like there's a few times I can remember things just being like, no, man, this is too much. There was a time when I was in Kentucky for Christmas. I was at my parents' house. This was probably, after the second Hunger Games comes out. So it's at like its height, kind of, you know.
Yeah.
And we're there. It's the 23rd of December.
Can I guess that you go to Kroger? Does this story end up?
It does not involve Kroger.
Okay, sorry.
It does not involve Kroger. I have many stories involving critters. But I'm there at the house. I'm having dinner with my grandparents. This is like our Christmas dinner with my grandparents, and my parents' doorbell rings, and so we all kind of look at each other like it's like 7 p.m. on the 23rd of December. Like, who's ringing our doorbell?
Yeah,
it's like a suburban neighborhood in Kentucky, and my dad goes to the door, and it's a mom with 2 daughters, like 12 and 10 years old, who just driven down from Chicago.
From Chicago.
No.
On the off chance that I might be home
Oh wow.
No.
for their daughters to meet me.
Oh wow.
And so my dad is kind of like rattled because this family was like, "Hi, we're so sorry. We know that this is like probably not okay, but like we really wanted and we thought maybe because it's the holidays he might be home, and we found your address online and my dad's like, this is like our home and like Christmas. And he like
he's in a terrible position where he wants to protect you, yet
but
he's
also
these
like
humans.
these like 2 young girls.
Yeah.
Shame on the parents. But like 2 young girls standing there, and he looks at me. He's like, "What do I?" And I'm like, I'm like, "It's okay, it's okay." I was like, "Hey, how are you guys? Nice to be like super nice to the girls." And they had like
Took
Hunger
both girls
Games.
up to the bondage bed.
Oh Jesus!
That was terrible.
Oh
I'm sorry.
man!
I just wanted to call back bondage bed.
I like it. I like
Took the mom
Go
up to the
for it.
bondage bed.
There it is. All right. But yeah, so I came up. I was like, said hi, and we took a photo together. And they had like things they had made me with like PETA and Hunger Games, and their phone cases were my face with the PETA thing and everything. But it's just like, damn, when am I allowed to not be putting on this other thing?
That's exactly what I was going to say, is that your family gets, the importance of your family once you get famous actually goes up, which is it becomes the place you can go and remember you're not worth anything.
Completely.
You're just a piece of shit like everyone else.
Absolutely.
And you really need that. And you need all those people to act normal around you. And you so need that bedrock. Because I would get that when I go see my dad, because my dad didn't, he didn't mind. He liked when people would stop over. And then I just felt like, no, Dad, I'm coming here so that you and I,
You'd be like father son.
Yes, and so I want this to be a safe haven from that, and this would be terrible if I don't have this as a safe haven.
Absolutely. And I can't imagine, like, it sounds like you as well. I don't know your family so much, but like I've been very fortunate to have a very grounded family and family that, while they're supportive and they really care about what I do, they also don't give a fuck. Like, I'm still me.
That's the best thing.
And I'm sure, and I know there are many families who, when someone in their family rises up to stardom or whatever, it's not the same way. Yeah. And all of a sudden, their family also is treating them very differently. And that would be really hard.
Well, yeah, because then you're really a man without a country.
Completely.
Like, where can I go to?
Where am I? Yeah.
But let me ask you this: if you could take it back, would you, or would you still do the Hunger Games?
I would still do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah, 100%. No, I mean, there was a time, if you asked me that question, the truth is, in that time where after it hit big, I 100% wanted to take it back. I did not enjoy the attention. I did not enjoy the fame. There wasn't an ounce of me that liked people looking at me.
Right.
And actors are really annoying about that because we're like, look at me, look at me, look at me. And you get attention, you're like, oh, stop looking at me.
Oh, 100%.
So it's like, we're the most annoying things.
Well, we're the
with
worst
that.
pieces of shit on the planet.
Exactly.
That just goes without saying.
Absolutely. So like, I felt that way, but I also was very cognizant of, I can't say that. Like, I can't actually believe that. Like, how lucky you are. What a dickhead you'd be to not be appreciative of this. And the truth is, looking back on it now, I'm so grateful. And I genuinely enjoyed the entire process of it. And were there times where it was overwhelming? Hell yeah, there were.
Yeah.
But there's times when everything's overwhelming.
Did you ever go to like Japan or anything? Have some weird,
like a spiritual, like... What do you mean?
Did you ever have like a shiatsu?
Like an ayahuasca trip in Peru? No.
Yeah, did you ever get a shiatsu massage while on ayahuasca?
No.
No, I guess when I see the times that I've seen where it can get crazy is like when they send the Avengers to like Tokyo, and those people
crazy
like
fandom.
Yeah, outside the hotel, there's like 20,000 people, and they actually need like a police motorcade and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That to me seems like downright terrifying.
We
like
had
you're
that
in a zombie movie.
We had that when we did Hunger Games. I can't remember which one because they all sort of bled together. I think it was after the second one. We did like a big international press tour, and we did like 7 European cities in 7 days. I remember going to Rome. We had a premiere in Rome, and I remember when we pulled up in our like caravan of cars.
You just did it. You got Kentucky for 1 second. Did you hear it, Monica?
I missed.
What did I say?
We pulled up.
We pulled up.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Yeah, you got us.
We pulled up our little caravan. And all of a sudden, so we pulled up. We pulled. How do you say pulled?
It sounds normal to me. Say it again.
Pulled. No, that's some Michigan stuff right there.
Pulled.
Pulled.
Yeah, he's saying pulled. Like pole.
pulled our money together.
POLED. Okay.
We pulled up. Yeah,
Like a
you're right.
polecat.
You're so right. So anyhow, we pulled up over there in Rome, and
In Roma.
in Rome over there the tomatoes are, and we pulled up in our. I can't stop thinking about it now. We pulled up in our caravan.
You arrived.
and we arrived. Thank you. And we got there, and it was so full of so many fans. Screaming, crying, signs. They had military police with like machine guns around their
jeez.
backs, holding back barriers that were like about to bust
Teenage
down.
girls.
It was It was
were a Beatle.
insane. It was like seriously. Me and Jen and Liam again were looking at each other just like, how the hell?
We didn't
like,
write
this
Abbey
is-
Road. Why
this is
are we
crazy.
getting this
Yeah,
attention?
Exactly. Yeah. So it was nuts, man. It was crazy.
Yeah.
There's some crazy stuff like that.
What a wild
Yeah.
experience. And during that phase, were you at all, because there was probably heightened scrutiny on you and people were following you for the first time and all that,
Mm-hmm.
were you thinking like, oh, I've kind of got to keep my life on the straight and narrow because anything could be a scandal?
Not at all.
No, all good.
No.
You're still like drinking and smoking weed and stuff.
I
and
was
being a 20-year-old.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
good.
living my life. I was like, I'm a human being.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I love. I'm making movies. I'm aware of people. I'm respectful to everyone.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna like walk around on eggshells. Like I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna fuck up. Is there a chance that a scandal could have happened at that point? Probably.
Right.
Like I don't remember. No.
Yeah.
I was drunk as no. It was. Yeah. I wanted.
Did you get it?
It didn't go either way. It wasn't a thing where, oh, I'm successful now I'm gonna party like a rock star and go crazy.
Yeah.
And it didn't go to like, oh my god, I need to like live in like a perfect, because I wasn't like trying to do like a Disney kid like squeaky clean type reputation, but I also was like, I'm not gonna go out there and party my ass off.
Right.
I just wanted to do what I wanted to do.
What about romantically? Are you nervous, like if you hook up with a girl during that period, she's going to somehow sell that? Or are you suspicious of people who like you during that period? Or is everything there normal?
You know, I definitely do remember, like I've never really gone on any dates.
Okay.
I've never gone on dates with people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's never been something. And I think that part of that has been because, you know, I was just like, I don't know if I can trust. I don't trust a lot of people in a big way.
Right.
You know, and so for me to like even go on, it felt contrived and it felt like it wasn't going to lead anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'll just meet somebody through friends. And if I don't, then I'll just be alone the rest of my life.
Okay.
That's kind of like dating was not a question. It was be alone or meet someone some other way, but not like dating people.
And so going back 5, because you've been with your girlfriend now for 5 years, so you must have met her shortly out, or maybe even
I did a
before
film
the
with
third.
her.
Of course,
What
you
a surprise.
did.
Yeah.
Fucking Casanova.
Yeah, that's me.
You're like Marlon
I'm like
Brando.
Castanova.
Yeah.
Anyways.
John Cassavetes Nova.
Yeah. We did this Pablo Escobar movie with Benicio del Toro.
Why haven't I seen that?
Great question.
I'm obsessed with Pablo Escobar. Have you ever read the book Killing Pablo?
I haven't,
by
but I've
Mark
heard.
Bowden?
I've heard it's really good. Didn't they make that into the film with
Narcos?
No. Didn't they use Killing Pablo for the Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem? Is that the name of the movie they did together?
Why haven't I seen that either?
Killing Pablo. You haven't
Haven't
seen
seen
that one?
any.
For someone who's such a diehard
Okay,
fan.
diehard. You just like the idea of Pablo
No,
Escobar.
I read Killing Pablo. I became
Okay.
obsessed with him.
Okay,
and then I've watched
okay.
a couple documentaries about him.
Okay.
And then, of course, Narcos season 1 was all about Pablo Escobar.
Yeah.
And I watched the shit out of
There
that.
you go.
Okay.
There you go. But yeah, we did this movie. It's called Paradise Lost.
Oh, so let me
Escobar.
ask you something. So
Yes.
you worked with Benicio the Bull,
Yes.
who,
Yes.
if I had to pick a single favorite actor alive, I think he might be my pick.
He's fantastic.
But he's also weird as a motherfucker, right? Is he the most interesting human alive?
He's extremely interesting. Extremely interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I worked with somebody that's been quite as unique and a powerhouse as him.
Yeah.
He is Del Toro. He is like of
the
the
bull.
bull.
Yeah.
Like he is really like the way he approaches every scene and his character and just his general energy is so strong. It's very intimidating. But also once you get like through that layer and you're inside, then you're like a homie.
He's also
really
he's
cool.
one of these guys I've watched his career, and certainly he has had every opportunity in the world. And I'm blown away. He doesn't seem to be motivated by money at all.
Mm.
Like he clearly he's left so much money on the table by doing he'll act once every 2 years in something that piqued his interest. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what drives him.
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot
well, I
of you
think
can
he
look
likes
at and
sex
you
a
can
lot.
see.
I saw this interview with him one time, and they said like, "So we heard that you're dirty," and he goes, "Dirty like Brando." That was his saying.
He's like
I was
rubbing his
ooh,
leg. Yeah.
damn, dirty like Brando. That sounds super dirty. God damn.
Give me a bath.
Yeah, in a trash can? How dirty we talking?
Yeah.
Where did you shoot that?
Yeah. We shot in Panama.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, in Panama. It was a brutal shoot. It was like one of the most gnarly shoots that I've done.
Really?
Just in terms of day-to-day workload. I was in every scene of the movie.
Who were
It
you
was just-
playing?
I was playing, so basically it was this attempt of like a historical fiction kind of thing.
Okay.
Where they took a true story that happened with Pablo and they inserted a fictional character into that world and let him operate.
And you were that
So I was the
fictional.
fictional character, fell in love with a niece of his, got brought to his compound to work as like a pool boy.
Yeah.
And then kind of started to get asked to do more things and involved deeper and deeper. I think the reason why the movie didn't really connect
Okay.
is because you have Benicio del Toro playing Pablo Escobar. That's what people want to come see.
Yes.
The movie was half that, and the other half was this developing love story.
Following a pool boy around.
And so, exactly.
Yeah, I
Who
didn't
gives a
sign up
shit
for
about the
this.
pool boy
No,
when
this
you have
is
Benicio del Toro fucking slinging coke and blowing
eighth-
people's heads off.
Eighth richest man in the world, 1985.
I don't care about some made up pool boy.
No, this guy's got $8 billion bucks buried around
Yeah,
town.
so I think it kind of landed in that zone of like it didn't quite fulfill the prophecy that it kind of said that it was going to be of being an Escobar movie.
Right.
But it's a great film. I think it
ultimate.
really turned out well.
So I do got to give you, I got to applaud you because if you won this gal's heart while the bull was around,
Oh yeah.
you were doing
was a
some
matador.
double time. Yes, you were the matador.
Ole.
You'd send him in that direction and chat with her.
Yeah. No, it
But
was
she had to be a little in love with him, no?
I was a little in love with him.
Of course, I'm head over heels
Yeah.
in love with him.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know. She didn't really speak much English.
Okay. Oh,
It was
that helps.
her not really because he speaks Spanish and I didn't.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah, that's a double
regardless,
whammy.
it was her first time being on like an American project, and she was really nervous. I was nervous. My first time being a lead in a movie outside of Hunger Games, and so we kind of connected very quickly, just over kind of both of us being a little nervous. She's an angel. She's an angel on earth.
And she was like a big Spanish actress.
Not really. I mean,
No.
she's been consistently working in Spain since she was like a young actress, like a kid as well, like 11 years old.
Yeah.
Like some big
Oh my
TV
God, you
shows
guys have
and
the
things.
same fucking.
It's really funny. It's like very similar, but
Yeah.
also our family.
Found the one human being you can relate to.
I know, but she's the best. But so we really just especially I don't know, in this world, especially in this town, I have such a love-hate feeling here.
Sure.
And in this city, I love so much about it, and I love the people that I've gotten to know and meet here.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of like cannon fodder around that is just like you got to fight through to find those great people.
Yeah.
And so I'm just really lucky that I found
Especially at
someone
your
that I
age.
really, yeah,
I think
exactly.
people here in their 20s are, they're
It's-
all trying to get
It's a little
something.
meandering.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then ladder climby. But
And what's I just want to throw it out there just because it's juicy gossip. But you own Heath Ledger's house.
yes. Yes.
And what did you feel about taking possession of that? Was that I would like that.
It-
Like I'm obsessed with Bukowski. If I could
Yeah,
live
of
in
course.
Bukowski's house in San Pedro, I would like it. And
Yeah.
Heath was I knew him, the sweetest human being ever, and then a fucking beast of an actor.
Yeah.
I'd be kind of stoked to take.
It's really cool. It's funny because I had been renting apartments and houses out here for years before I bought that house, and it came time our lease was up on this house we were renting in the Sherman Oaks area, and I was like, God, I'm just like, shouldn't I try to buy something at this point? Like, I think I can make a down payment after the second Hunger Games, make a down payment, like, and our money's going towards owning something and not just like pissing into the wind.
yeah.
And so my business manager was like, yeah, not a bad idea. Have a look around. Looked at one house. It was that house. That's
Oh,
it.
really?
Looked at one house.
You got there.
Immediately, I saw a photo of it. It was a photo of like a Buddha on a wooden deck. And I was like, there's something about that I was like, I know. I walked in and the house was like my dream.
Yeah.
It's not like a mansion, but it's like a
Not a huge
two-bedroom.
house, but it's a tree house.
1,200 square feet, but it's like it's in the trees. It has like this big outdoor deck, and it has a very, very special energy. And the fact that it was Heath Ledger's house, like it really does have a weight to it that's pretty special.
Yeah.
It's very zen, and it feels right.
What is life in Spain like? Is it awesome? Is it as romantic as I imagined? You guys go out to dinners and sit on a sidewalk and drink wine and
You're literally nailing it. That's what we do. That's what we do. We have we found this like little apartment. It's so cozy and homey and amazing, and we made it ours. It's in this great neighborhood that has like we're right next to like a little square that like every evening the
What do you
restaurant
call the squares? They're not piazzas. That's
they're
Italian.
called plazas.
Plaza.
Plaza.
A plaza. But you're saying plaza.
Oh, plaza. Oh, give me here that plaza.
No, it's just a fucking plaza.
Yeah, so they're called plazas, and yeah, we just it's the best. I have like a
good
great
life,
group
right?
of friends over there that I've cultivated through her friends and stuff, and there's just like a different priority, and I really enjoy the speed of which they live.
What is the priority? Enjoying
The priority
life?
is enjoying what we're doing right now. It's like when we're gonna go out to dinner tonight with some friends. In my mind, I'm like, all right, what time's the reservation? Where we're going after the like, let's like figure this all out. She's like, we'll see.
Yeah.
And it's always like we'll go to dinner at like 12.
at night.
Yeah, 12 at night.
Oh, wow.
And that's like a normal hour. The disco will open at 4 a.m.
Okay.
Or like, it's like, you know, so it gets pretty late night there. But just a really great group of interesting, creative people who really don't give a shit about what I like. They care about what I do, but it's not like, oh, he's like famous actor guy. It's like they just like they're musicians, artists, actors as well, directors. It's a really great group. And
I'm so jealous.
and Spain is just full of, especially Madrid, just full of so many little special zones and neighborhoods and things. I love being there.
Oh, I want to go. I have a
Yeah.
fantasy where I have a whole nother life that happens in my retirement where I live somewhere like that.
I
And I just
absolutely
stroll
think you should go
around
for it.
fucking aimlessly and absentmindedly and just stare at shit.
It's
My only
fantastic.
fear would be getting used to it. What I like about going to Europe is it still always feels so different and special to me. I would hate for it to feel like LA does, like pedestrian.
I mean, right now, I do currently feel a bit more comfortable living in Madrid than I do here.
Oh,
I have to
really?
say. My life that I have like settled into there with like the coffee shop that I go to, the restaurants that we like, they're kind of day to day.
Yeah.
I feel super comfortable there. And more so than I do here right now.
Right.
But I think Spain is also different. I mean, like, you know, you go to England, it's going to be different. You go to London, you know, Paris. There is a different feel. It's not just like Spain ruins like Europe because you get used to it. You know what I mean? Like it definitely still feels special traveling to other.
Yeah, like I guess what I'm saying is when I'm in Paris, I will often fantasize about living there. And then I think I'd be so disappointed in myself if I walked like 14 blocks and I hadn't looked at every window and every building because it was normal to me.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that seems scary to me for some reasson.
Yeah, I understand. It's not. It's
Okay,
great.
okay.
It feels great. I gotta
Okay,
say.
now I want to talk about your show. Well, you're also, I was so tickled to see you in Disaster Artist. By
Oh
the way.
yeah, that was so fun. Oh my, that's how I got connected to this TV show, by the way.
Oh, really?
Through Disaster Artist. Yeah.
How so?
Well, Disaster Artist was with you know
The Franco brothers.
Francos and Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, and so I did that small 2-day part on that. It was really fun, super great crew, fun everything. And then like a couple weeks later, I got an email from Seth and Evan saying like, "Hey, we're doing this TV show. We want to do it with you. You want to do it?"
You're kidding.
And I was like, "What is it?" And they sent me the pilot, and I was like, "This is fucking crazy and weird and original and unique." And we talked about kind of like where the first season was going to go and stuff. And I was like, you know what? Hell yeah, I want to come on board. And
So I don't know a lot about the show, but
Mm-hmm.
Wobby Wob was just telling me about it, and it's virtually the exact same movie that I loved in the '80s called like
Last Starfighter?
The Last Starfighter,
yeah,
which I
completely.
fuck, my brother and I watched that movie
Yeah.
every weekend
Yeah,
for
yeah.
2 years.
yeah, so like the general gist of the show is for season 1, there's a guy who's like kind of nerdy. He works as a janitor at this like facility that's trying to cure sexual transmitted diseases.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, this is all like Seth Rogen branded comedy, so you can just imagine. And basically, he plays this video game that's unbeatable, and he finally beats it. And then all of a sudden, these two people are sent into his room from the future and tell him that it was a training tool sent back in time to find like this warrior to save all of humanity.
Yeah.
And he's
That's the
like,
same as
what?
Last- Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And he actually, the character's like, wait, that's just the plot from Last Starfighter. You're just fucking with me. And you're like, what's the Last Starfighter? What's a movie? And you're like, what the fuck? Anyways, so then the whole first season is kind of us going on this journey through the decades to like the 80s, to the 60s, 50s, to try to like stop these certain events from happening that lead to the destruction of all of mankind.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's every episode has like a big action sequence. Plus, like the comedies, on point with the typical brand of Seth Rogen, all those guys. But it's a really fun show,
sounds
and
so
it's
fun.
so weird, man. Like in the second season, it's coming out in January. It's even weirder than the first. I have like multiple full frontal nudity scenes.
Oh, I can't
where I have
wait.
a 9 to 10-inch flaccid prosthetic cock strapped onto me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like.
And when you had that thing on you, did you look down and go, this would be awesome?
No.
Or were you like, this would be cumbersome?
This would be not good for anyone.
Okay.
No one would enjoy this. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I look forward to seeing
Yeah,
that fake
it's fun.
flaccid penis.
Funny, a friend of mine, like when the show first came out, they sent me like, they're like, hey, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but you need to look at this right now. And I was like, fuck, what is it? And they sent it to me, and it's like, XXX, Josh Hutcherson nudes leaked. And I was like, what the And I opened it, and it was literally screen grabs from the show.
Okay.
And my friend had thought that it was real, and they're like, bro, did not know.
Bro, did not
This thing
know.
is like a Coke can and a foot long. It's like a Coney and a Coke can had a baby.
And was it on Hulu?
It's on Hulu. Yeah.
And did you, I guess because it was those guys calling, you probably didn't go through this mental gymnastics, but were you like, oh, do I want to do TV? Did you have that debate in your head?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought about it. I mean, at that time, like, one of the great things the Hunger Games allowed me to do was to kind of be selective and, you know, kind of step back and really only want to try to take on things that I really wanted to do. So that was great. But at this point, I hadn't really found anything that I really wanted to do. And TV had taken this whole other swing where, like, you had, like, the best actors and directors in the business.
Well, can I tell you, who gives
Cool.
a fuck about movies?
Exactly.
Honestly,
That's
I get
the
those
thing.
screeners last year. I'm like,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
I like 2 of them.
Yeah.
And yet I there was 100 amazing hours of
Shows.
television I consumed.
Absolutely.
It's a
yeah.
joke.
Completely. So I saw that change, obviously. It was very clear that happened. And then I was like, these guys, like, everything they touch turns to gold as far as their comedy. They're always, like, on the cutting edge. They're always pushing boundaries,
Yeah.
making people laugh. And so I was like, you know what? Fuck it. So I signed a 7-year contract. And I was just like, whoa, shit. That's a lot of years, but, you know.
Yeah,
Hopefully
that's a
it goes
TV
for a while.
contract,
Yeah,
son.
yeah.
They only come in one size.
Exactly. 7 years.
They're a good group to get into bed
They
with,
really
though.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Good
mean, going from
bedfellows.
disaster artist.
Yeah. 7-year bedfellows?
Oh,
yeah.
I'll sign that contract.
I'm in.
Hutchie.
We had Seth
Where do
on
I
here.
sign?
It was great.
We
Oh,
did.
good.
Not to
He's a
brag,
funny
but we
one.
did have Seth on here.
Not to
He
brag.
returned my text weirdly, even though
Does he live in Spain?
The Hutchie monster.
We shot season 1 at Sony. Actually, we were literally shooting right by the Zathura stage.
No
and I had
kidding.
so many memories of just being on that lot. Remember when Tim Robbins' son, Jack, I think was his name, was driving like the golf cart around, and he was like 15, and he flipped the golf cart and he like fucked the golf cart up, and he was bleeding and everything. And I love any other like PA would have been kicked off the set instantly.
Yeah, sent back
He
to
got to
Iowa.
stick around. He got to stick around. Yeah.
No,
There's
you
so
know
many
he
memories there.
he rapped before I ever started. Tim Robbins.
Did?
Yeah, remember because
Oh,
we
yeah, I
shot it in
guess.
sequence, which
Yeah,
you never
yeah.
get to do in
It's
a
true,
movie.
because they had to destroy the house in sequence.
That's right. So
Yeah.
I only met him at the table read.
Okay.
And that's my sole experience with him. And then remember, little Jonah Bobo threw up at that table read.
Oh, no.
Did?
You don't remember this?
I don't remember that.
Oh my God, this is the cutest thing in the world, Monica. Because so he was, I think he was even younger than 8. I want to say
I think he was like 7.
Yeah.
He was
So,
pretty young
the
guy.
point is, he couldn't read.
Oh.
So he had memorized the whole script.
my God.
Do you remember this?
I do not remember this.
Yeah, he was not reading. He was just acting out the whole thing. He had
amazing.
memorized the whole thing. In the middle of the table read, he's like, I don't feel so good. And then he got up, and there was a bathroom inside that conference room we were in. And that little boy went in there and threw up for a while and then came back and finished.
Oh, my God. Because he was so nervous.
I have no idea. I think maybe he had too much coffee on his empty stomach. No, he didn't have coffee, but
Had a big night of partying before.
yeah, he had gone to Chateau Marmont the night before. It was in the Jim Belushi
Oh,
suite.
that's so sad.
Yeah, it was
I did
so-
not. I don't remember
so
that.
cute.
God, this business is brutal sometimes.
I know.
This poor little 7-year-old, they got like Sony executives like looking at him like all overbearing, and he's throwing up in the bathroom. Oh, man.
Memorized a 120-page screenplay at 7 years
God.
old.
Jesus, that's impressive as hell.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Josh, I love you. I'm so glad you came in so we
too,
could
man.
just see each other.
Yeah,
It's so
love you
nice
too,
to have my
man.
prodigal son return
Yes.
home.
Yes.
And you're so happy. I'm a little suspicious you're so happy.
I really am.
You're
I
not
really
you
am. I'll
hit
tell
the
why I'm really
serotonin
happy.
lottery or something?
I'll tell you why I'm really happy. I'm really happy because I've discovered directing.
Oh, okay.
That is genuinely like I was going crazy as just viewing myself as an actor only, and like trying to do some producing and things because like you're so limited and so I love acting and I love playing a character, but you're so limited to only that little vein, and it gets edited, it gets changed, they cut things, they move things, and you're just kind of like as Hitchcock said, like a cattle. You know, and you feel that way. And I started to feel that way. And I was like, screw that. I have more things I want to do. I've been doing music videos. I got a feature coming. Like, so I'm like right now just like thriving off of that and living in Spain and here.
All right. Well, I wish you a ton of luck, and I love
Thanks,
you,
buddy.
and I'd love to
Love
take
you,
you
man.
for another death-defying ride up to 170.
Let's do it.
All right. Bye.
And now my favorite part of the show, the fact check with my soulmate, Monica Padman.
Cause she's fact-checking, check it to see if what Dax says is true for cherries. Come on, money, will you do more than facts? She's a fact-checking. You know what it means to me. Do you recognize that song? Hot-Blooded.
Oh.
By Foreigner. It predates your time on planet Earth by a lot.
By a lot?
Yeah, by about 20 years, maybe. No.
In the 60s?
No, 10 years, I guess.
Oh.
I thought you were born in 2000.
You didn't know when I was born.
You turned 19 this year.
I wish. My whole life ahead of me.
You don't wish.
I don't wish,
No.
actually.
You're right in the sweet spot, girl.
Yeah.
You're like making a living. You're on your own.
There's a ticking time bomb on my ovaries.
Oh, tick tock, tick tock.
I don't like that.
You don't? What about freezing some eggies?
I know, I might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll pay for that.
No.
Can I offer that to you for the Christmas present I owe you?
No, you don't owe me anything.
Egg freezing?
No.
Egg freezing. Freeze them and see.
Do you think they're going to be as Vital Farms eggs?
Nothing is as vital as Vital Farms eggs, nor will they be nearly as fresh as Vital Farm eggs. But even if you don't freeze them, they won't be because your eggs were made 31 years ago.
Oh, that's
They're
true.
old as hell already.
Ew, that's true.
Dusty. What?
Dusty?
They're very dusty is what I'm
Say
told.
that.
That's the rumor on the street.
Well, how do we know Dusty isn't actually better?
You're right. It could be. It could be a very fertile.
Maybe the more dust.
The more the semen is sealed into that ovum.
Maybe.
Do you like the word ovum? I do.
Sure. I haven't really thought much about it.
Do you know the plural of ovum?
No, ovum is the plural, isn't
No,
it?
I think ova is the plural. Ova and ovum. By the way, great. That'd be a great 80s new wave band. Ova and ovum.
Ova and ovum.
Don't you feel like you're dancing in a Swedish nightclub?
It feels Greek to me.
Oh, it does. Ovum and ovum. Up in ovum.
Oh.
I'm gonna be there. Over,
We're
over.
just starting the new year off with some songs, staring right
right.
into my eyes.
Can we set that as a 19 New Year's resolution? Uninterrupted eye contact during all singing.
Okay.
All right.
Yes. I already have one that I've been working on. We already talked about it, I think, on here. But I'm going to stop saying I'm so busy as a response. I've done well. We're a few days in. I've done
Any
well.
cheats?
No.
Oh, good.
No.
Good.
Well, at the first day, when people would say, "How are you?" I would say, "Well, my New Year's resolution is to say." So I was qualifying a little, but now I've been good.
Right. Yeah, and a couple times I've said, 'cause, mine's to stop complaining.
Yeah.
I have said a couple times, well, I'm not going to complain in 2019, so it was fine. Like they'll ask about, does that still count? What is that?
I think it's halfway. I think you're not complaining, but you're
measures of-
telling people that things are
Not-
a little off.
A little off.
And actually, it's worse because
Oh.
then people are like, "Well, just say what it is."
I know. Half measures availed us nothing. That's what they teach us. Well, these things start slow.
They do. But remember, we were going to do jars for each other?
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't think I've warranted an actual $500 contribution yet to
Okay.
the jar.
Okay. Neither.
And I haven't, I'm not going to say which brand, but I have stopped consuming a certain beverage that may or may not cause cancer. I'm on day 4 of that. And
And I'm
then,
proud of you for that.
no, I haven't had any chewing tobacco either in 4 days.
Really proud of you for that, too.
Look, I'm going to stick with it, but life's just not as fun when you don't put a little of that sweet
Goo
nectar
in your
between the
teeth?
cheek and gum. Put a pinch between the cheek and gum.
I just disagree.
It's disgusting.
Yeah?
You won't get any pushback from me on that.
No.
Yeah.
But I know it made you happy.
What would you think was grosser? You knew that once a day I I licked Lola's asshole.
Oh.
Or 10 times a day, I put a little pinch between the cheek and gum. Which one do you think is grosser?
Well, obviously, I think Lola's asshole is grosser.
Okay, but probably not cancer causing, though. Licking Lola's asshole.
Yeah, but just a gross factor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely the dog is grosser.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
I mean, if I thought what you've been doing every day was that gross,
Well,
I think you would know. I have a hard
that's
time concealing.
It's a really bad example because there's a lot of moral implications about it.
About Lola.
Yes, about
Right.
licking a dog.
Well, I don't
'Cause
even
that's-
mean that. I don't even mean that.
Oh, you don't?
I
That's-
mean just the physical, the act.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's foul. It is really foul. I wonder if there's one that's more on the fence that I can come up with that's comparable to chewing tobacco.
Oh, there's nothing I'm going to say that is. I'm not going to say that what you've been doing is gross.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
I care about your feelings.
Well, thank you.
Shall we begin?
Yeah, let us begin.
Okay, Josh.
Ugh.
I liked him so much.
You really did.
Yeah, and I also felt a little bad because we both run in a similar circle with him.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we see him at parties and stuff, and I just ignore him.
And why do you suppose you ignore him? Because you don't want to be someone that's bugging him because he's
Probably.
famous? Yeah.
Or that's probably how it started.
Mm-hmm.
And then once times had gone by, it was like, well, then
Now you're just being
now
a
it's-
turkey.
Well, no, now I'm just.
You're
Now it's
playing a
just
little-
normal.
Playing a little game of
mouse?
cat and mouse, little reindeer games.
Well, he found me.
He sure did.
Yeah.
But I will say, I always like, and this happens to both of us, where you have not even an opinion of somebody, because it's not like I don't think you had an opinion.
No, none.
But when someone comes here and then you kind of fall in love with them real time, I always
Yeah.
enjoy watching that.
Yeah.
And it happens to me too. I fall in love with people on here.
Yeah. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. Oh, I had a fantasy the other night
Okay.
because rooted in this episode, which is I thought to myself, because I have very bad wanderlust.
Oh, we're going to get to it.
Okay. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I now have a destination in Spain. Like, I need to go in the next couple weeks. Just go see Josh in Spain and let him be my liaison, my fixer in Spain.
Yeah.
And then I played the whole fantasy out. I'm going to go to these restaurants with he and his friends who are drinking wine and smoking cigarettes. And that part's going to be a little bit less fun for me than them.
Yeah.
But I had already prepared myself of how I was going to find enjoyment from it, even though I wasn't partaking in the
You're
wine.
planning on, even in your fantasy.
I have to be realistic about the fact, because if I just show up and wait to get surprised by all the wine drinking and cigarette smoking, I'll make a bad decision. So I got to be ultra clear about what's potholes.
I don't
and
want you to go there by yourself.
Why? I thought it all through. Should I bring my sponsor?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've been to many foreign countries and not drank.
I know, but you're far away and none of us are there and none of us
Okay.
can get to you quickly.
Okay.
Also, I don't really care.
Okay, well, you're a little mad. I can see you're a little bit upset about something.
Well, I'm not upset.
Would you like to come with me?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I feel
Let's go to Spain.
like when your fantasy excludes people that you love.
She just did air quotes.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets kind of deep. It's like, why is that your fantasy to leave the place with all the people that you love?
Well, my fantasy is to get submerged in some other experience I have no history with. So the romantic fantasy is I just parachute into Josh's life in another country where they have like all these jokes and they're speaking like these.
Sure.
I don't know where we're at now, but another glass of vino tito,
Yeah.
pass a cigaretta. And then I get to witness it, and then maybe people are making googly eyes at each other and stuff. Like there's a whole romantic thing that I'm witnessing, and the lighting in my fantasy, it couldn't be softer or
I
warmer.
understand that,
Yeah,
yeah.
the walls are red. It's so warm. And then we spill out onto the little cobblestone alleyway where this little quaint bar is. They always hang out. And then we're just walking down the cobblestone thing, and they're laughing, and their laughs are echoing off the tall old buildings. And I'm just kind of there, and they're not excluding me. And even though I didn't drink the wine or smoke the cigarettes, I'm still invited to laugh while stumbling through the streets at like 3 a.m.
Oh, my.
Does it? You know what I'm saying? So part of the fantasy is just, being like an anthropologist there.
Sure.
Yeah.
I get it.
And then if you bring like your whole family with, if I'm lugging around like 2 kids and stuff,
I know.
then they've joined my experience. I haven't joined theirs.
That's true. That is true. I understand
But
that.
you could join their experience with me. I don't think that 2 would be too disruptive.
Yeah, I just like, it's so funny. I just don't have that at all.
Really?
I have that negative.
You have the opposite of that.
Yes, my fantasies are like,
Oh, can I paint it?
sure.
You fly all the way to Spain, and then the hotel you're staying at is your childhood home. Your childhood bedroom.
No, that
Nothing's
sounds
different.
terrible,
You've just
too.
gone somewhere and it's identical. And then you rent your exact car
No,
while you're there.
no, you've misunderstood. No.
And then there's like a Spanish Ryan Hansen tending bar.
Okay, well that's getting closer. Yeah, my fantasy is to go to places. I love traveling, but not to then be with new people. I like the people who I've cultivated, and my fantasy is to spend all my time with those people
In
all day long.
other places.
And yeah, sure, we can all go to other places, but I'm also happy if we all just live in one big house and never do anything all day and hang out and play.
Right. Yeah,
That's
sounds
a fantasy
nice
for
too.
me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have the thing of like,
Like
don't
I
have
want to
it.
come to in a moose blind in Russia next to 3 guys drinking vodka out of the bottle in Arctic gear.
okay,
I just want to like open my eyes and be there
yeah,
in
I get
and
it.
feel very out of place. I want to feel very
Oh,
out of place, and then I want to learn to integrate myself and adapt and assimilate.
well, I spent my whole life doing that,
You're a
so
champion.
I don't need to. That's not part of my fantasy.
That's true.
That is interesting. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah. You want what you didn't have. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Okay, we haven't even gotten to one fact.
Jesus. Well, we missed each other.
I know. We
And
did.
you were gone for quite a while, too long, some would argue.
Mm-hmm.
And but you have this superstition where you must start the new year with your grandparents, right?
That's theirs.
Oh,
That's
okay.
their superstition.
Well, it's nice of you to abide.
My grandfather's superstition was if you start the new year with these people, you'll end the new year with them,
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's nice.
which is nice. And then now we need to do that.
Right,
Now
sure.
it feels okay. So there was almost a fight.
Oh, okay. Okay. I knew if I scratched deep
We didn't.
enough,
It didn't go. It didn't go all the way, but
the table was set.
yes, right as the new year was turning, because my grandfather is very old now, very, and
Like 100 and something? Or?
no, I'm sorry, he's actually not that old. He's like 87 or 88, which is
Okay.
old.
Yeah.
But he is looking and is behaving very
A little older.
elderly. Yeah. And there's like all these there's this obsession with superstition that
Right.
is happening around me that it makes me anxious.
Mm-hmm.
I pinpointed that it was making me anxious, so I was like really butting up against it a ton.
Uh-huh.
And one of them is like everyone has to cheers
Okay.
at midnight.
Okay.
And everyone's cup has to clink.
Uh-huh. Eye contact with the
Eye
clink as well?
contact and clink. And so it was like this thing where my grandfather didn't have a cup.
chalice.
He didn't have a cup and he didn't have anything in it. And then it was like felt like a panic
People were
was happening.
scrambling.
Yes. And I was like, it's fine. And I was saying that.
Oh, yeah, right.
I was
yeah.
saying, just leave him alone. It's fine.
Uh-huh.
And And then I was getting some backlash.
Some blowback.
Yeah, some blowback. And then my brother was like,
He had enough of that.
of me.
Your bossiness.
I guess, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so there's some superstition involved. Yeah.
But you and I both ironically succumb to some superstitions.
but-
yeah. Eric was complaining about this. I think I told you.
Yeah, you
gotta
told me.
Pick one or the other, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to believe in the Lord, or you got to get rid of the superstition.
I know. But I don't like that about me. I don't like that I get like tied to something, and it feels like if I don't do that, there's repercussions, or if I do that, there's repercussions.
I agree.
It's not healthy, I don't think. So when it's around me, I'm like, oh, it is. It's just mirroring.
Well, you're also probably getting angry because you're like, oh, this is where I get
it. Yes.
stupid bullshit.
Exactly. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I don't know where I got mine because my mom's not superstitious that I can think of.
Yeah, I think it's also probably tangential to OCD.
Yes, and I also bet it's a little bit of an occupational hazard when you take on a job where there's so much luck involved.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just oodles of luck in making it or not.
It's easy to project things onto it that aren't related.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you get hired to fix someone's carburetor and then it works when they receive the vehicle, they will come to you again to have you fix something. There's no,
It's true.
Anywho.
Yeah.
Who is this episode about?
Cute Josh Hutcherson.
Josh Hutcherson.
Okay, so he talks about the Spanish flu. And I looked into the Spanish flu, and I have no idea why it's called the Spanish flu. It did not start in Spain.
Was it because the Spanish conquistadors were carrying the flu from Europe and infected all the South American folks?
No, it said that the beginning of the flu started in France at a hospital camp.
Okay. That's a bad place to go camping. Don't you think?
Yeah, I
What if you found out me and the kids were going camping at Cedar Sinai this summer?
Anyway, it was actually called the 1918 influenza pandemic, then colloquially Spanish flu.
Okay.
And it was unusually deadly. It affected 500 million people around the world.
500 million in 1913?
1918.
1918. I got to imagine there was only like 2 billion people on the planet in 1918. So it'd be like a quarter of the people.
A lot of people.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It said it was the most deadliest natural disaster in human history.
How many people died?
Oh, 50 to 100 million.
Oh my goodness.
3 to 5% of the world's population.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
What a successful flu.
Yeah, it did a good job.
Yeah, #1 flu. Congratulations, Spanish
It's
flu.
good to be number one.
It is.
It feels good.
Well, but you're always looking over your shoulder at norovirus, at swine flu, Ebola. There's always someone on your
natural
heels.
disasters, that includes doesn't that include hurricanes and
tsunamis,
stuff? Wow.
cyclones. I don't want to.
Oh no, here we go again. That was for 2018.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, let's leave that in 2018.
We're not going to. One of our other resolutions was to never fight about cyclones again.
Okay, he's been with his girlfriend for 5 years, and you said in 2 more years in Kentucky that would be common law. But Kentucky does not recognize common law marriage.
Okay.
So there are less
Does
than...
that feel progressive or not progressive? I don't know which would be the right.
I feel like it's not progressive.
Okay.
Because they're so into marriage that they don't recognize common law marriage.
Oh, so that's one way to look at it. I went another direction, which is like some states have determined if you've been with someone for 7 years, there's a certain level of implied dependence, and that if a state had so many unwed people living together that almost they wouldn't want it, like that it's maybe more common. So they're not. I don't know. I went the other way.
Okay. Well,
Interesting.
yeah. Okay. Well, you know how he's a colonel.
That Josh is.
Josh is a colonel.
Very esteemed.
We were wondering if he could add letters to his name.
Uh-huh.
And No, I don't think you can. I looked into these post-nominal letters.
Oh, that's what you call them?
Uh-huh.
Post-nominal.
And they started in like British royalty.
Oh, that makes sense.
So orders and decorations conferred by the crown, you get them. Queen's Counsel, Justice of Peace, and Deputy Lieutenant. If you're those, you get it. University degrees, religious orders, medical qualifications, fellowships of learned societies, members of parliament, and membership of one of the armed forces. Those are the letters.
That's when you can do it.
Yeah. And none of those, I don't think, were colonels.
I don't have any of those.
Yes, you do. You have academic. You could put
BA after
put
my
BA.
name? Really?
Yeah,
That would
you
be
could.
embarrassing.
I know.
This guy bragging about a 4-year degree.
Dax Shepard.
I saw
BA.
someone that did do the master's one you can
People do that,
I
yeah.
don't agree with that one.
Well, on
I was
your-
embarrassed for the person I saw using that
Well,
degree.
but you probably wouldn't have thought it if it said PhD.
Right. I think if you're a PhD, you deserve to say that. I don't think with a master's degree you deserve to rub everyone's nose in it.
Well, I think master's degrees are impressive. You don't think so?
Well, it depends. My grandma Euless was a double master's, and yes, I was
Yeah.
proud of her.
My
but
dad
but
has
she
two also, and I'm very proud of it.
But he doesn't put that after his name because he's not a
He could,
blowhard.
though.
Well, of course he could, but he would never do it. Nor did my grandma Euless.
That's
Ulysses.
funny. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
hope I didn't hurt
we're
anyone's
only
feelings.
BAs.
B.A. Baracus, though. Mr. T.
Oh, okay. Oakwood. You know how you said they changed their name. It's confusing because now they have like all these ones all over the place, but the one from the Hollywood complex is called Oakwood at Toluca Hills Apartments, Avalon.
Right. And I just drove by there, and all it says is Avalon. There's none
Oh,
of that
it
old
does.
baggage. No, they've although it may be in their
Technically.
incorporation papers, it says all those, but just on the sign, I think it just says Avalon.
Well, I called them
oh, you did?
to get pricing.
Oh, you did?
Yes, but I didn't get any because they were making me give information. Like they wouldn't give me any pricing unless I gave them very specific information. And I got
Quid pro quo. Tit for tat.
tit for tat, and they didn't get any of my tit.
Okay, good.
I said no.
Keep those to yourself.
My fat natchies to myself.
Yes, fat natch for tat.
Yeah, no, I was like, can you just tell me a general price before I was like, I was lying to him. I was like, I'm just thinking about my options and
I feel like you find yourself in the position I find myself in all the time, where it's like I'm trying to maintain the moral high ground, but it starts with that I'm lying to them, and yet I'm offended that they want my info.
Yes. I also felt like a detective. Like I felt like a Veronica Mars when I was on the phone with them. It was kind of fun, but I wouldn't have been a good Veronica Mars because I was starting to panic.
Well, but that was your first time. No, but you did. I feel like you've had trial by fire in our lives, and I was very impressed with how you
When?
thought on your feet. When we had a rental unit that had been robbed of the washer and dryer in the fridge, and you went over to let the people in, and there was no appliances anymore, and you just had to like come up with some crazy story of why there were no appliances, and they had just seen it a
Yes.
week before, and there were appliances.
I totally forgot about that.
I was so impressed. That's one of the times where I thought, oh yeah, she can be in the rob a bank team with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
You got through it though. They none the wiser. What a welcome to getting a rental house.
I was
this is going to
so
be
scared.
great. And then within the first 3 weeks, both places are completely robbed.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It was a horrible feeling. If only they had Ring.
Yeah. If we had Ring, we would have photographs of these people.
That's right. Okay. Anyway, so I don't know how much the Oakwoods cost, unfortunately.
Okay.
But if you want to know, you'll have to call and you'll have to give them a lot of information.
So security number, medical history.
How many? How long? Ken Jennings. Ken Jennings won Jeopardy 74 games in a row. I think you thought it was more.
I did. I thought it was like 150 or something.
Yeah, 74. The streak netted him winnings of more than 2.5 million.
That's awesome.
I know.
Good job, Ken.
Yeah.
I think he might have even ended up in a commercial or two after that as well.
Oh,
I think
I
there was some
hope.
ancillary earnings.
I wonder if this is included, though.
I think probably just the prize money.
You think? How
That's
much do you win on there each
you
time?
know, generally, I feel like it averages around like 18 to 30 grand though in an episode. You know, occasionally you'll see them up there in the 50s, but it seems to be in that 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never really watched it.
Oh, I was a junkie for years. I used to tape it on VHS and then I did it on the DVR. And then one day I just stopped.
Really? You learned too much?
I think I knew too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bummer.
And there was all these rules. You never played it with me, but we would watch it, sometimes as a team. And because I'm dyslexic and I can't read, the rule was you had to listen to Alec ask the question,
Okay.
not read ahead because it's not fair.
Was it Alec?
Yeah, Alec Trebek, like Alec
Are you sure it wasn't
Baldwin.
Alex?
Alex Trebek. I always get Alex Trebek and Alec Baldwin confused. They're so similar. They're just so damn similar.
They're pretty much the same. Yeah.
He's just the Canadian version of Alex Baldwin.
You could be right, actually.
I'm Alec Trebek. Fuck, I don't know.
I don't
I've
know.
confused myself now.
I think it's Alex, but you could be right. You also watched it much more than me.
I can only imagine how frustrating the show is to listen to in your car because certainly many people are screaming, "It's Alex."
I know. Sorry. Oh, God.
It's Alex.
It's
Okay,
Alex.
with an X. But in Canada, sometimes you pronounce the X just a C.
Okay.
So, soon as the clue comes up, it's written across the whole screen of your television.
Right.
And then Alex reads it. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people, Kristen, can read fast. So she'd read the whole question and then she'd answer it before Alex had even finished asking it. So it had to be a policy that you couldn't answer until Alex had finished the question. Because I can't read it.
And is it who's faster?
Yeah, it's all about who
That
says
still
the
doesn't
right
seem
answer.
fair because she's still seeing it first and figuring out the answer first. So then she's just waiting for the end of I don't know.
But at least at that point, we have a shot of tying.
Okay.
We have no shot of tying if I hear in 1967, and then
Right.
she says,
What if
Lincoln
you got
Continental.
so good and you could start answering just
from
with
the year.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
That'd be great. Did Yao Man win Survivor? Remember, Yao Man was one of the posters on his brother's wall. Mm-hmm. He didn't win. He was fourth place.
Okay, I had never even heard of Yao Man until that
Me
conversation.
either, because I don't watch Survivor either.
Cool nickname, though.
I don't think it's a nickname. I think that's his name.
Oh, Yao Man?
I think.
Oh, no, I'm nervous. Was he like a foreign
Asian.
national? Oh, great. Now I'm a fucking racist.
Okay.
I thought it was like Wee Man.
Well,
The Yao Man
who's a wee man?
from Jackass.
Oh, I didn't watch.
He was a little person, and his name is Wee Man.
Oh,
I didn't give him that
I
name.
know, I know.
Don't cringe.
I'm not.
I have no culpability in this. I do hope though that when he called people, he was like, "Please hold for the Yao Man."
Yeah.
and really made
Milked
it seem
it.
like a surfing nickname. That's to me what it sounded like, is like a surf nickname.
oh,
The Yao Man.
oh, interesting. Well, I think that makes you not racist because you heard it as a surfer.
Right.
Okay, the name of the trust fund that kid actors have to have is Coogan Law.
I don't know why I can't remember that because
I
we have
know.
Steve Coogan's a name we know.
Right, and we already did this on Mila's fact check. We already talked about this.
I bet we'll do it again.
I'm sure we will.
We'll do it
We're
again.
not learning.
No.
I mean, we're
That's
just
the
not.
hard truth. That
I know. Okay, so you said freezing to death is a peaceful way to go.
yeah.
And I did find some evidence of that. Some accounts of almost freezing where you like slowly fall into a coma, so it's like not painful. And that some people report of like states of bliss and stuff. But I thought I'd go through the stages to
Stages.
freezing to death.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Yeah, then if it's happening to you, you can at least know where you're at in the process.
Exactly. I'm on stage 4.
Okay, 2 more to go.
Okay, next is
Helps
I
you.
have to pee. Okay, so 1 is blood flow to your capillaries constricts.
Okay.
Because in cold temperatures, your body prioritizes keeping your internal organs warm. So blood flow in your capillaries, which is close to the surface of your skin, constricts, and blood flow to the vital organs increases. So sometimes your extremities are even colder.
Right. It's pulling all the blood from your outside. We call that distal.
Oh,
In
distal.
biology, all your distal areas, it's pulling all the blood from there and putting it inside. You just got annoyed that I said distal.
No, I didn't.
You can't slide one thing past me because I don't break eye contact, so I know exactly what's
I
going
didn't get
on.
annoyed. I didn't get
You're
annoyed.
like, oh,
it
here
wasn't
we
that you
go.
said distal.
I know.
It was that you said in biology.
Oh, of course. Well, who wouldn't be mad? What if you know what would have been really rank? This would have been worth you rolling your eyes if I said, in biology, we say distal. And I said,
That's what it
we
sounds
say.
like. That's what it
No.
sounded like.
I didn't say we say. That would be the egg on the face.
That's what it sounded like to me.
Okay.
That's why I rolled my eyes.
Well, in biology, we'll say distal or proximal. Proximal's close to the body and distal's
Are
far.
you sure you didn't say it?
I
I feel
didn't.
like you said.
I did not.
Okay, number 2, heart rate and respiratory rate accelerate. They get faster only at number 2.
Okay.
Later, spoiler.
It goes down.
Yeah.
Okay.
3, you start to shiver.
That's natural.
4, you lose your color. 5, you have to pee. Okay.
Weird.
I know.
Why?
Because the body produces more urine because of the increased blood flow to your vital organs. You might start feeling like you have to pee during the early stages of hypothermia. By the late stages, you might not be able to control your bladder.
Uh-oh.
Pee yourself.
I wonder if it prioritizes your body's smart enough to. Okay, so first it goes, we got to protect all these organs, right? It brings all the blood in there to keep them warm. But then I wonder if your body starts recognizing, well, shit, we can't keep all these organs. Does it start shutting down the least vital ones? Like, let's take the kidneys offline. Let's take the liver offline. Is the last thing to shut down your heart?
Maybe. Actually, maybe.
That'd be a cool system.
But your organs don't start shutting down until
they don't have blood.
many more steps.
Okay, great. Walk us through those.
Okay. So you have to pee. That's 5. 6, you have difficulty moving. 7, you get confused. 8, your extremities turn blue. 9, your heart rate and respiratory rate decrease.
Okay.
10, you hallucinate.
Ooh, now we're talking.
11, you get amnesia
Oh.
because of the oxygen deprivation to your brain. It says if you get rescued from the cold and survive, you probably will not remember much of the incident. If you're rescued by someone you know, you might not even recognize them when they find you,
Oh, wow.
depending on what stage you're at, I guess. 12.
See, this all sounds very peaceful to me.
No.
Yeah, because you're like, you don't even recognize, you're not remembering.
hallucinating.
Yeah, you're like a little loosey-goosey.
Well, this
Is
part gets
horniness one
weird.
of them?
I think that depends
What
on
if
the
it's
person.
extreme horniness was like step 11?
That would be horrible because you have difficulty moving.
That's true.
So,
Unless you could reach climax just by being that horny.
oh wow,
That was like the last thing you experienced.
yeah, that would be a nice way to go.
Yeah, it really would.
Okay, things get weird here. After you get amnesia, you might strip off your clothes.
Oh,
So maybe-
that's a code. That's code for extreme horniness.
Maybe it is. No, it says victims of hypothermia often display a strange phenomenon called paradoxical undressing. Scientists are not exactly sure why it happens,
Of course, they're not. That makes no sense.
but their best guess is that the blood vessels near the surface of your skin suddenly dilate because the muscles that have been constricting them are exhausted. The sudden dilation of the vessels causes you to feel extremely hot all of a sudden, which that's interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. This sounds like such a wild ride.
I know.
I kind of want to experience it.
No, don't say
Well,
that.
no, where someone finds me who I don't recognize, even
But
though it's my
you're
brother.
at like the end.
Yeah, I want to get rescued right before the last stage. What's the last stage?
Last stage is organ shutdown. And before that, you lose consciousness.
I almost thought you were going to say orgasm. Last stage is orgasm shutdown.
Okay, after you strip off your clothes, another weird one, you might burrow. Yeah, it's called terminal burrowing. The victim tries to get into a small enclosed space just like animals that hibernate. And one explanation for this behavior is that it's triggered by the most primitive part of the brainstem as a survival instinct. And then 14, you lose
Some of these
consciousness.
are a little contradictory, though, because like you're not going to be able to move, but yet then you're going to take all your clothes off and you're going to dig a hole in the
burrow.
ground. So it's
I think
kinda,
it's just hard to move. So it maybe.
okay.
14, you lose consciousness. 15, your organs shut down, and then you're dead.
It's like step 4, your eyes stop working. Step 15, you watch a movie. All right, so you guys will know if you haven't felt a irresistible compulsion to get up and tear your clothing off, you've got plenty of time.
You're doing okay. Yeah.
If I were a scientist observing that, though, I really might label that latter stage as horniness. Like, oh my God, they're getting up and
You
getting
would
naked.
label it.
Yeah, like if all of a sudden they had been laying there so peacefully forever, and then all of a sudden there's like, and they're just tearing their clothes off and getting naked, I might go like, oh my goodness, one of the last stages is horniness. That would be as good of an explanation as what they said.
No, theirs made a ton of sense about blood vessels and stuff.
Kinda not. They said that they had long pulled those capillaries are long closed, and now they open up out of nowhere so that you can explain why they got naked. I think it's Occam's razor would suggest they just got horny.
All right.
There's some bad science out there.
Don't say that. I did a lot of due diligence. Okay. Josh and Jennifer Lawrence are 2 years apart. I think he thought 2 and he was right.
He's older.
He's older.
Okay.
Nope. I'm sorry. He's younger.
Okay. Nope.
He is younger. Zathura made, we probably already talked about this on a previous episode, but just in case, Zathura made 29 million domestic, 64 worldwide. I mean, is it that bad?
Yeah, I think it was a $60 million movie, 65 million, something like that. It's not what they wanted.
Yeah, sure.
And it's my fault.
Sure. That's it.
That's everything.
Yeah.
Well, that was a great time.
Yeah.
That was
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and I'm so glad we're back.
Yeah. Welcome back.
I wouldn't mind I'd already miss our reindeer maker,
Yeah, we need some
noisemaker.
more
I want to
Foley.
get maybe some new noisemakers for 19.
Foley. Yeah.
And then the last thing I'll just say that I'm wrestling with is, and we just talked about superstition, is I'm very superstitious about odd numbers. I hate odd numbers.
I know. Yeah.
Don't want them.
Yeah.
So last year, mentally, I was very prepared, and I manifested one of the best years of my whole life because 18 is a very even number.
Yeah.
And we're going into 19, which gets me a little scared. So I'm choosing to focus primarily on the fact that I turned 44,
Yeah.
and 4 it doesn't get more even. You want to talk about a stable number? 4. 4 legs
And
to
then
a chair.
2 of them.
And then 2.
Yeah.
So, that's just where my head's at in case anyone's curious. I'm trying to.
It's also funny how these things, like, they're so contagious. Like, I know that about you, and I don't have that, but then I had it.
For a minute.
Yeah,
caught
like I
yourself.
have it a little bit, and I don't like that because I didn't have it, and now I do.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, my stupid hat on the bed thing. I mean, when I see a
That
hat
I'm not
on the
gonna
bed,
have it. Well, now I will.
my heart stops. Like I'm like, oh fuck, I got to get that hat off the bed before someone I love dies. I mean, it's so.
Oh my God.
And that's from a goddamn movie. I don't even think there's any historical basis for this. I think some bored writer wrote it up and put it in that drugstore cowboy movie, and now my brother and I both have that. Ay.
It's bad. Well, and I will say, just we can end on this, that since I was saying my family has a lot of superstition and a lot of them on New Year's Day, and one of them is that you can't spend money. You shouldn't spend money on New Year's Day.
Right.
And at one point, I just decided I'm spending money today. It's
Right.
okay. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I did it. And
look.
everything's great.
Yeah.
So it's okay these things are not real.
Yeah.
Just, okay?
They're not real. I love you. I love you, Rob. Welcome back. So happy to be back.
Love you guys.